Chapter 1172, Exploring the Ancient City. 3 people were left and they were petrified. They didn't want to attack anymore. Lin Feng's level 9 thunder intent plus his halberd scared them to death. Their thunders didn't even stop Lin Feng for a second. Lin Feng's physical body was incredible. Sharp celestial thunders, shouted the Thunderbird, his drum turned into a body containing dazzling thunderous energies. Then it became a beam of light shooting towards Lin Feng like lightning. Lin Feng attacked the air in front of him with the halberd filled with terrifying thunderous energies. The thunder energies broke apart when they hit the halberd and brushed past Lin Feng. Lin Feng frowned. Those energies even made his Tianji sword scared. Thunderous energies continued to roll in the air. Lin Feng condensed all his thunder energies in his right hand and grabbed his halberd. Halberd in hand, he moved towards the drum to attack it. Kaboom! The thunderous energies dashed to the skies, now looking like a thunderous snakes. The 3 other people were incredulous. How terrifying. Both Lin Feng and the Thunderbird were propelled backwards. Lin Feng immediately followed up by attacking with his Tianji sword again. The Thunderbird rose up in the air and was quickly surrounded by thunderous energies. He looked like a thunder god despising the world. Wait until I can control abstruse energies, I'll kill you then. Kaboom! The Thunderbird hit his drum again. Lightning struck the ground and Lin Feng's Tianji sword. The Thunderbird opened his wings and flapped them furiously. Maybe I'll be the one to kill you even after you understand abstruse energies, said Lin Feng, watching the Thunderbird disappear. Lin Feng had spent 200,000 gems to spy on the Thunderbird. If the Thunderbird found any more incredible treasures, Lin Feng would definitely chase him. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the 3 other people in a despising way. With the strength of the 6th Tianqi layer, he managed to force the Thunderbird to run away. What is his name? I hope he can teach us some things. Brother Feng, you're very strong. You'll definitely have the opportunity to fight against him in the future. The 3 people, surprisingly, were smiling and talking in a positive way about Lin Feng. They were scared so they hoped Lin Feng would forgive them. Why fight another day? We have the opportunity now. Weren't you just asking to learn things from me a moment ago? Said Lin Feng glancing at them. He was now holding his Tianji sword and releasing qi. Brother, there's no rush. We are 3 people, together we don't fear you, said one of them coldly. Lin Feng used his Xiaoyao agility technique, meanwhile his Tianji sword swallowed thunderous energies. He threw himself at the enemies. That person raised his hand and condensed ice energies to protect himself. Lin Feng's sword streaked across the sky and Lin Feng shook his hand. Then his Tianji sword fell from the sky, dazzling and surrounded by thunderous energies. That cultivator wanted to block the attack but suddenly that guy was immediately destroyed. As soon as he was struck by the thunder sword, his body exploded. Even the Thunderbird didn't dare block Lin Feng's Tianji sword directly and those people were a lot weaker than the Thunderbird. Die, said Lin Feng. His Tianji sword rose up in the air again and moved towards the second one. It fell down again and the sword struck him, cutting him into pieces. The last one wanted to escape, but Lin Feng looked at him and said, "Curse." Cursing energies fell down on that cultivator. He was so terrified that he didn't even realize his soul had been cursed. Now he was confused and even started hallucinating. The Tianji sword crashed onto his head and chopped it clean off. Lin Feng wasn't an assassin, that's why he usually threatened people to steal their fate seeds, instead of killing them. He didn't enjoy killing that much. However, if people threatened him, he had to kill them. Lin Feng had 7 blue-green fate seeds in his third eye. He had killed 5 people and obtained 700,000 gems from them. Lin Feng sensed the energies from those fate seeds and put his Tianji sword away. Then, he went to the shrine and spent another 200,000 gems to spy on someone else, Feng Xian. There were no tensions between him and Feng Xian, so he wouldn't steal from her if she obtained treasures, but observing another person wasn't a bad idea. If she found the source of life, Lin Feng would go there too. He left the shrine, now with eyes on Meng Qing, Feng Xian, Fu He, the strong young man and the Thunderbird. Lin Feng walked through the city. The 5 people he spied on before were all incredibly strong. Lin Feng was convinced that they would remain until the end, so if anything happened in Fortune City, Lin Feng would continue to learn by spying on them. Go, said Lin Feng. His Tianji sword appeared and streaked across the sky. Then it disappeared from his field of vision. As it traveled around, Lin Feng could see everything his sword was doing. Lin Feng himself was walking around and came across a blue-green animal, with the shape of a bull. It had 4 extremely thick and solid trotters and blue-green wings. With each step it took, the ground broke and would even shake Lin Feng. That beast had 3 blue-green fate seeds, 300,000 gems. When the beast turned around, it looked at Lin Feng with a certain coldness. Lin Feng released terrifying energies towards the beast. Bzzz, 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 the ground was buzzing and crackling. The beast charged and large holes were left in the ground behind it. Lin Feng threw himself at the beast, condensing the force of the earth and sky. Die! Lin Feng condensed thunderous energies in his fist and punched the beast head-on. Boom boom boom. Lin Feng punched the beast, the ground cracked, and a canyon was created from their collision. Die, 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 shouted Lin Feng as he punched the bull 3 times, releasing thunder and fire intent together. The bull roared, causing the buildings around it and in the distance to shake. Finally, the bull's muscles twitched and collapsed. Then, Lin Feng obtained its fate seeds. Lin Feng looked at his own fist and smiled. He could now punch powerful beasts and crush them. Lin Feng put a foot on the beast, looked around, then left. He wanted to go hunting and get more fate seeds. Chapter 1173, The Source of Life. His sword continued to travel around. Typically, there was nobody around the sword, but sometimes, the sword would stop and glance around. Many people wanted to take the sword, but the sword didn't let them take it. If they tried to steal it by force, the sword would release thunderous energies and attack those people. Once the sword killed people, their fate seeds moved far off into the distance to its owner's third eye. Many people sighed after seeing that. The owner of the sword was probably an incredibly strong cultivator. The owner was far away, but his sword could still kill people. The Tianji sword in the sky was one of the strangest things in the ancient city those days, but it was far from being the only strange thing. For example, each time Fu He cheated people, he realized that the items he wanted disappeared as if they had never existed. For example, each time Qi Tianxing fought someone, some abstruse tablets disappeared. He knew someone was acting in the darkness, but he couldn't know who it was. Maybe that person had made a special request in the shrine. Lin Feng continued killing beasts and stealing their fate seeds. After that, he went to the shrine and asked for a place to practice cultivation again. Those days, Lin Feng was free and unrestrained. He was alone and could do whatever he wanted. After stealing all those fate seeds, he could sense his strength blossoming. Lin Feng ate a few more abstruse tablets. He had used empty space illusional technique to steal empty space abstruse tablets from Qi Tianxing. He had also done the same to steal fire abstruse tablets from Fu He. With his Tianji sword, he had even found some wind abstruse tablets. In total, while other people had spent only 30 days in the ancient city, Lin Feng, by buying time in the shrine, had already spent over a year there. Lin Feng didn't have too many fate seeds left over, he only had 4 blue fate seeds. He still had a long way to go before obtaining purple fate seeds. His thunder intent was already at the maxed, so the next step would be abstruse energy. His fire intent was now level 9, his sword intent was level 9, his wind intent level 8, and, without Lin Feng realizing it, he had swallowed those empty space abstruse tablets and his empty space intent was now level 7. Lin Feng felt annoyed because of one thing: he had focused on abstruse energies and intent, but it hadn't affected his cultivation level. It was as if he was stuck, but he had only reached the top of the 6th Tian Qi layer. Imperial cultivation disciples and emperors' descendants didn't lack tools to practice cultivation. It was easy for them to obtain abstruse tablets. So, why did so many people from rich sects, clans, and imperial families only study a few kinds of intent and not so many? Lin Feng only knew that Emperor Wu Tianjian had raised his sword for 10 years to instill several souls and several types of abstruse energies. The 7th assassin was the same: he knew 3 types of intent. If he had continued living and leveled up, he would have only known 3 types of intent. When Lin Feng left the calm space, he looked at what the people he was spying on were doing. The Thunderbird was practicing cultivation alone, for he had swallowed a Thunderbird. Lin Feng was speechless. Why did he swallow it? Of course, Lin Feng knew that the Thunderbird hadn't swallowed a real Thunderbird, it was only a kind of strength, like the Golden Crow fire. Unfortunately, Lin Feng was practicing cultivation when the Thunderbird found that kind of thunder strength. After that, his strength would be even more terrifying. Meng Qing, Feng Xian, Qi Tiansheng and Fu He had all acquired incredible treasures. Of course, Lin Feng had obtained a great many things too, and he still had plenty of abstruse tablets. If he could, Lin Feng wouldn't mind staying in the calm space practicing cultivation all the time, then stealing fate seeds again and going back to practice cultivation. Lin Feng left the shrine and continued hunting beasts. It was a lot faster for him to kill ferocious beasts now. Soon, Lin Feng already had 7 blue fate seeds. An incredible strength was flowing throughout his body. What astonished Lin Feng the most was that he could also study and understand the vitality flowing throughout his body. But on that day, the 5 elements dashed to the skies and surrounded the city. Gold, wood, water, fire and earth, the strength of the 10,000 things of creation were rolling in waves across the ancient city. Mist appeared and scared some of the weaker cultivators. How cold! Lin Feng had just killed a beast when he sensed the change in weather. He raised his head and saw the 5 elements in the sky. Then, Lin Feng realized that the map he had seen outside of the elemental area had appeared once again. The earth and sky are changing, whispered Lin Feng. His Tianji sword came back to him. Suddenly, a strong wind started blowing, raising dusts with it. People couldn't see clearly anymore and it was painful, like sharp blades cutting at their skin. Lin Feng was surprised. His physical body was incredible, but those energies still felt like blades against his body. People who weren't strong enough could die by that wind. Very quickly, Lin Feng couldn't even keep his eyes open anymore. The world was drastically changing. It lasted for a long time and then, finally, Lin Feng opened his eyes and could see clearly. The landscape was becoming more distinct. Lin Feng soon realized that he was another world. The wind was blowing and could even pick up stones. Sounds were painfully piercing people's eardrums. Is that the ancient battle? Thought Lin Feng. He looked around and was surprised. He saw a lofty mountain with a stream flowing slowly. That water looked pure, it was azure blue and seemed to contain the energy of life. Is that the source of life? Lin Feng's mouth twitched. Then, he looked around and saw thunders, fire and other desolate landscapes. The map they had seen in the sky was now appearing in front of them. Where am I? Thought Lin Feng, breathing deeply. He wasn't the only one surprised. Chapter 1174, Yi Ren lay. Even though the landscape was becoming more distinct, that strong wind was still blowing and emitting sharp whistling sounds. That place was filled with deadly energies, and in the distance, there was a myriad of silhouettes. There were less than 500 people left from the Ba Huang province left. Those people were all extraordinarily cultivators with dazzling blue fate seeds in their third eyes. I hope Meng Qing and the others are here too, thought Lin Feng, glancing around. He realized that the most central place was the source. Its water was a precious treasure, seemingly capable of giving birth to new life or instantly killing people. There were 4 beams of light and everybody could see them, 4 palaces, 4 lofty shrines. It was as if the shrine was following them. And that fortune shrine followed them no matter where they were. Lin Feng, said someone extremely loudly. It was Yuan Fei. Yuan Fei's facial expression was strange, his qi was ferocious and terrifying. In the Beast Palace, he had probably obtained incredible treasures. This place looks like the battle from the past, said Lin Feng. The air was filled with death and many people were walking towards the source in the middle. However, 2 people were struck by lightning and died instantly, so everyone stopped. That place seemed to be dangerous. Indeed, I have the same feeling. The elemental area was the city and this here seems to be the battlefield. We can even hear all the sounds of the war here, said Yuan Fei glancing around. He was also wondering why the diviner had sent everybody in there. Meng Qing, Huang Fulong. Lin Feng saw Meng Qing and Huang Fulong and called out for them. They also joined the group. Lin Feng continued looking for people he knew, Qiong Qi, the Dragon King, Duan Wu Dao, Qiu Yu Xian, Lin Rua Tian and Meng Ba. Lin Feng, shouted a voice. Lin Feng frowned and then he saw someone come towards him. That person was robust and looked quite strong. Lin Feng was beyond happy to see him. That young man also smiled at Lin Feng in a resplendent way. Huang Fulong, shouted that person running towards them. Lin Feng and Huang Fulong both smiled in a resplendent way and both walked towards the young man. The 3 young men clapped each other's fists and tapped their shoulders, they were happy to be together again. Mo Shi, how did you survive? The young man who had arrived was Jun Mo Shi. I ended up in a small world and was teleported out, replied Jun Mo Shi. Then, he looked at Huang Fulong and said, you're alive too, I'm happy. Where are you and Yunfei Yang? I don't know. I still haven't seen them, said Huang Fulong clenching his fists. He was still worried for his friends. After the events in the Huang Sea, what had happened to Tang Yu and Yunfei Yang? They'll be alright. I'm sure they're alright. They probably found some small worlds in the Huang Sea like you guys, said Lin Feng. In fact, he was worried too, but hoped they had found small worlds and teleported out. Indeed, nodded Jun Mo Shi. He turned around and said, Xiao Dai, come here. Lin Feng and Huang Fulong were surprised to see a girl walking over to Jun Mo Shi. She was extremely beautiful and her qi was extraordinary. Apparently, Jun Mo Shi had some luck since they last met. Lin Feng and Huang Fulong are my friends and they are like my brothers, said Jun Mo Shi introducing his friends to the girl. Then, Jun Mo Shi looked at his friends and said, she's my future wife, my fiancée. She looked at Lin Feng and Huang Fulong and nodded, smiling in a resplendent way. You guys are lucky to have such beautiful wives, said Huang Fulong smiling fatuously. Jun Mo Shi looked over at Meng Qing and said, Lin Feng, I'm happy that she's recovered. Congratulations. I'll introduce you to a nice girl someday, said Jun Mo Shi to Huang Fulong, then everybody laughed. Xiao Dai then looked at Yuan Fei, she looked surprised and curious. Jun Mo Shi's friends had some high-class friends. Oh right, that's Yuan Fei. Jun Mo Shi, said Lin Feng. Yuan Fei smiled and said, Jun Mo Shi, haha, I know who you are. Damn, I wouldn't have thought I'd meet you so soon, awesome, bro. This must be fate. Lin Feng was confused, did Yuan Fei hear about Jun Mo Shi before? He wouldn't have thought he'd meet him so soon. What did Yuan Fei mean? Well, maybe, said Jun Mo Shi clapping hands with Yuan Fei. Yuan Fei looked very happy. All of Lin Feng's friends were now acquainted. Lin Feng, do you have any alcohol? Asked Jun Mo Shi. I do, said Lin Feng nodding. He still had some hot unit left, so he took out some bottles. Hee hee, awesome, we're going to drink, said Yuan Fei smiling happily. Everybody sat down and cheered, cheers. Kacha, everybody drank. Good stuff, said Yuan Fei. More. Lin Feng said nothing and took out more bottles, then they all continued drinking together. Those strong cultivators were in the middle of an ancient battlefield and drinking alcohol, what a scene. Unfortunately, Yu and Fei Yang aren't with us, said Jun Mo Shi sighing. He hoped all his friends could be with him right then. Many people from a distance looked at them with surprise. Under such circumstances, some people were getting drunk as if the outside world had nothing to do with them. Another beautiful girl came up to them. Xiao Dai, you seem happy. Can I have a drink too? Said that girl. Your Excellency has so many fate seeds, can I have a few? Said that girl looking at Lin Feng. That girl even did a puppy dog face when she asked Lin Feng. He grinded his teeth and came back to his senses. Yi Ren Lei, if you want to have a glass, I don't mind, said Xiao Dai. She seemed to know that girl. She was also one of the 4 most beautiful women of Ba Huang province. My brother has a wife anyways, so don't flirt with him, said Yuan Fei at the girl. That girl now seemed scared. Yuan Fei, Yi Ren Lei was just joking, said Xiao Dai. Lin Feng frowned. He had become a lot stronger those days, but when he looked at that girl, he felt strange. It was as if a simple yet meaningful glance could influence him. That girl is from the Heaven's Desires Palace, she can cast illusion spells. She's also one of the 10 strongest cultivators from the Ba Huang province and she's the only girl in the top 10. Few men can resist her beauty, said Yuan Fei. He apparently respected that girl a lot. One of the 10 strongest cultivators from Ba Huang, no wonder. That girl also had 5 blue fate seeds in her third eye. Chapter 1175, The 10 Strongest Cultivators 5 Fate Seeds, that meant 500,000 gems. Lin Feng didn't know what kind of special powers she had, but only one meaningful glance was enough to make him lose control. With such powers, she might just need to look at men to make them hand over their fate seeds. The Heaven's Desires Palace has a special skill called Kamadhatu, the 6 heavens of desire and passion. It's a very powerful skill. She's the holy girl of the Heaven's Desires Palace and her social status is similar to Shui Bai Yao's status, but she's a lot stronger. Many men are in love with Shui Bai Yao, but even more are in love with Yi Ren Lei and her illusion magic. She's interested in vitality energies and she practices 4 different types of abstruse energies, explained Yuan Fei. Yuan Fei was strong, but even he had to admit that Yi Ren Lei was strong. Who are the others in the top 10? Asked Lin Feng. They're all here. Ba Huang province is divided into 8 areas, east, west, south, north, southeast, northeast, southwest and northwest, but because it is difficult to differentiate the areas, many people say, eastern part of Ba Huang, southern part of Ba Huang, western part of Ba Huang, northern part of Ba Huang, central part of Ba Huang, brutal part of Ba Huang, celestial part of Ba Huang, and sanguinary part of Ba Huang. Each part is vast and has its own groups of influence. If we have to classify the areas in terms of strength, the central part of Ba Huang is the strongest and the northern part of Ba Huang, where Tiantai is the weakest. The central part of Ba Huang has the 4 cities outside of Fortune City and each city has imperial clans or powerful groups of influence. Jiang'e is included in this. The central part of Ba Huang has 3 geniuses, Xikong Xiao from the Xikong clan, Wen Tiangu from the Wen clan and Mu Fan Chen from the Magic World Heavenly Palace. Then, in the eastern part of Ba Huang, there's Qi Tiansheng from the Qi clan, there's Fu He from Fire Mountain in the southern part of Ba Huang. In the western part of Ba Huang, there is Bai Qiu Luo from the Sunset Pavilion. From the brutal part of Ba Huang, there's Mo Peng from the Bestial Imperial Palace. In the celestial part of Ba Huang there is the Buddhist monk Kong Ming Shao from the Celestial Thunder Temple and Yi Ren Lei from the Heaven's Desires Palace. And finally, in the sanguinary part of Ba Huang there is Wu Tian from the Abyss of Sufferings, explained Yuan Fei. Lin Feng now better understood how Ba Huang province worked, but he didn't know the details from them all still. Fu He from the Fire Mountain in the southern part of Ba Huang, Wu Tian from the Abyss of Sufferings in the sanguinary part of Ba Huang, whispered Lin Feng. He was interested in the both of them. Fu He was one of the 10 strongest people in Ba Huang. That bastard had cheated him. He had even hidden people inside his sleeves. And Wu Tian reminded Lin Feng of Emperor Wu Tianjian's. Fu He is a bastard, he possesses a fire body and is quite strong. He can roast and eat tigers, said Yuan Fei. Lin Feng wasn't surprised, other people also knew how sly Fu He was apparently. And Wu Tian. Wu Tian comes from the Abyss of Sufferings who are imperial assassins. They hope that he will be as glorious as Emperor Wu Tianjian, so he ended up with that name. Yuan Fei, you come from the mountain of flowers and fruit, that must be in the brutal part of Ba Huang, right? Can you not contend against Mo Peng from the bestial imperial palace? Asked Lin Feng. Yuan Fei was a frank and an honest person, he wouldn't mind a direct question. Those people from the bestial imperial palace had chosen an aggressive name. Do you know what Mo Peng's body consists of? Asked Yuan Fei. Lin Feng shook his head. A great oriental greenfinch rock, a godly bird. Mo Peng is the 3rd strongest cultivator on the list. In Ba Huang, he's considered as a peerless cultivator in terms of speed and physical strength, said Yuan Fei. But even though they're considered the 10 strongest cultivators of Ba Huang province, we're in Fortune City now and many more incredibly strong cultivators have come here. After all we went through in Fortune City, maybe some people are going to rise up and those people will fall down the rankings. In Ba Huang province, people like to classify things, so that's why they like having a top 10. From generation to generation, geniuses of the Tian Qi layer are classified and everybody is amazed by those people. In the end, if they don't die, they usually become terrifying cultivators. For example, the 10 strongest cultivators of the last generation have already become all-powerful Zun cultivators. Your fellow disciple Ho Qing Lin is just an example. Lin Feng, you'll have such opportunities too, said Yuan Fei smiling. Lin Feng was captivated and continued nodding that he understood. People like to classify geniuses everywhere, not only in Ba Huang province. Back then, Shuiyu also had a ranking system, but now that was a thing of the past. You too, said Lin Feng smiling in a friendly way. Lin Feng was feeling determined, he'd have to defeat those people if he wanted to replace them someday. He, and all our brothers and sisters. We will all have such opportunities, said Yuan Fei looking at Meng Qing, Jun Mo Shi. He had seen Meng Qing fight only once, but he was impressed. He heard about Jun Mo Shi too, he had heard that he had come back to life from certain extreme circumstances. Everybody will, said Lin Feng. He couldn't wait to be a peerless cultivator. He recalled back when he was a cultivator of the Xian Qi layer, and now he's trying to understand abstruse energies. What would he be doing 10 years from now? The power gap is also related to its geographical position. In the other provinces, there are many places suitable for cultivation, so many emperors chose to settle there before. Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu are new emperors, so they were left to settle in the northern part of Ba Huang. The northern part of Ba Huang is near the sea and has the Huang Sea to deal with. There aren't so many precious treasures in that land. Maybe, said Lin Feng smiling. At that moment, some lights started dazzling and illuminating the space above them. 10 bridges appeared and at the same time, a hologram appeared. It was a person with a star robe, his hair was long and white, he looked like a god or a wizard, not like a normal human being. Everybody was staring at the old man. One name came to their mind, the diviner. Was that old man the diviner? The old man looked at the crowd. It was as if he knew everybody. Unconsciously, people feared him. If that old man was the diviner, who was he exactly? What was his cultivation level? To create a city like Fortune City to which even great emperors didn't dare go, he must have been incredible. Lin Feng couldn't even imagine. The reincarnation wheel is going to roll. Those 10 bridges connect the areas of this place. You all will divide into 10 groups and choose from the bridges that have appeared. The number of people who can make it onto the bridges is limited. Of course, if you choose to go to the same bridge as some weaker people, you might just be killed by the environment, said the old man with a resplendent smile. This time, the strongest cultivators were going to stand out. Their lives were in the hands of destiny. Chapter 1176, Surrounded by Hot Girls, this will be the last challenge in Fortune City. After that, I'll tell you about your destiny, said the old man. Then, he gradually disappeared. 10 bridges connecting to 10 incredible areas, the source of life, the long rivers, the illusion, the mountains and rivers. Where do you want to go? Asked Yuan Fei. The places where the bridges led would influence their cultivation and understanding of abstruse energies. Each bridge leads to another place, but in fact, the places are interconnected too. Even if people are separated into 10 groups now, they will ultimately meet again, said Lin Feng. He had already stood up. The 5 elements were the basic elements constituting the 10,000 things of creation. No matter which bridge they chose, they were going to learn something. Apart from the 5 elements, there were some thunders too. The second half of the bridges seemed like they were covered by the thunders in the sky. I choose the source of life 1, said Lin Feng pointing in the distance. For him, it was something important that he still needed to explore. If he managed to obtain a source of life, his friends, family members, or even Lin Feng himself would be able to heal faster. Before reaching the top, nothing was certain for anyone. Therefore, Lin Feng was interested in the source of life. It would be a good way to protect himself and his friends in the future. Meng Qing didn't say anything, she would follow Lin Feng no matter where he went. Alright, I'll come with you because I'm not interested in the others, said Yuan Fei nodding. Jun Mo Shi, Huang Fu Long, stay with us. If we need to get to something, it'll be easier for us as a group. Many of those people will also stay in groups. It was important to remember that the 10 strongest cultivators of Ba Huang were there with them. There were also cultivators like the Thunderbird. Everything was possible, they could even fail at this juncture. Alright, said Jun Mo Shi nodding. They decided to stay together. Many silhouettes flickered and people quickly appeared on the bridges. Lin Feng and his friends went to the life bridge. He looked at the other bridges, looking for people he knew. Where's that bastard? Wondered Lin Feng. He couldn't see Cheong Chi, but he was convinced that Cheong Chi had made it this far. Lin Feng hoped that Cheong Chi and Fu Hei would end up on the same bridge, that would be fun. Very quickly, Lin Feng and the others arrived at the foot of the life bridge. The bridge was made of pure energies and could accommodate many people. A pale breeze containing pure energies brushed against their bodies and it was a very pleasant feeling. Lin Feng also noticed Yi Ren Lei. Yi Ren Lei had chosen the same bridge as them. What a coincidence, said Yi Ren Lei smiling. People thought she was talking to herself while smiling fatuously. How strong, a single smile can make people lose their mind. That must be abstruse energy, thought Lin Feng. Sister, why didn't you go to the illusional bridge? Why here? Asked Xiao Dai smiling. They seemed close and at the same time there was a distance between them. We are women, so we won't be beautiful forever. If I choose the source of life, I can remain young for longer. I also plan to learn some new things here, said Yi Ren Lei indifferently. But you're so strong already, said Xiao Dai. Every woman dreamt of staying young forever. In the distance, some other people noticed that Yi Ren Lei had chosen that bridge. Yi Ren Lei is one of the strongest cultivators and she's extremely beautiful. Staying with her should be a safe choice, and at the same time we could enjoy looking at her. Absolutely. There's also the Snow Girl, she's hot like a goddess. If men are more attracted by Yi Ren Lei, it's only because Yi Ren Lei practices particular skills and techniques. Feng Xian is there, and Shui Bai Yao, and who's that one? The crowd frowned. 3 of the 4 most beautiful girls of Ba Huang were there and the crowd could also see Meng Qing. After looking at her, some of them completely forgot about Qi Jiao Jiao. Yi Renlei is very strong and Shui Baiyao has a celestial body. Feng Xian has a phoenix body, and Yuan Fei has an explosive power. That bridge will be the best one. More people continued to come to that bridge, including some other strong cultivators. Of course, the two bridges next to this one had some very strong cultivators too. Qi Tiansheng, his sister Qi Jiao, Wu Yan and some other strong cultivators. They chose the empty space bridge which would help them cast even more powerful deployment spells. On the other side was the great oriental greenfinch rock, Mo Peng. He had a long purple robe, his hair was fluttering in the wind. He looked even more incredible than the Thunderbird. Speaking of, behind him was the Thunderbird, Mang Niu from Mang Niu Mountain and other very strong animals which also had a human form. There was also Long Teng from Tian Long Divine Castle and other strong cultivators. The crowd also noticed that there was one of the 10 strongest cultivators of Ba Huang province on each of the bridges. They sort of became the leaders of the groups. They didn't have to do that, but it was better for them not to get into a large battle. Lin Feng was extremely excited. The diviner had triggered the last step of the event. Everybody would have to prove how strong they were now. Only those who were brave and strong could become emperors, while those who enjoyed bullying weaker cultivators were doomed. Feng Xian and Shui Baiyao soon arrived, they couldn't help but glance at Lin Feng. Yuan Fei laughed, that guy certainly attracted girls. Sister, isn't it the guy who likes you? How come he's now with that girl who is as beautiful as you, said Feng Ling. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. When did he say he liked Feng Xian? Stop talking, Ling Ling, said Feng Xian embarrassed. She looked at Lin Feng and Lin Feng smiled wryly. By the way, sister, I heard that a guy who bullied out sister, Shui Baiyao, was called Lin Feng. Could it be the same person? Asked Feng Ling giggling. Cough, cough, Lin Feng, Feng Xian and Shui Baiyao all remained speechless. You're really lucky, said Yi Renlei smiling at Lin Feng. Many young men around were looking at Lin Feng enviously. That bastard. He was hanging around with 4 amazingly beautiful girls. Meng Qing looked at Lin Feng and rolled her eyes while saying, "What did you do?" Then she laughed. Lin Feng knew Meng Qing wouldn't get angry because of such things. He said indifferently, "Shouldn't we go up?" Then, everybody started walking. Yi Renlei smiled at everybody and said, "He's right, let's go up." Chapter 1177, Intent, Abstruse Energies, and the Zun Qi layer. Everybody looked nice and happy, but everybody understood that once on those bridges, there would soon be tensions between them and nobody would be merciful. The 5 elements were rolling in waves in the sky and were continuously oppressing the cultivators on the bridges. Things looked apocalyptic all around them. The deadly energies made everyone believe even more that this was a battlefield and that everybody was going to have to fight to survive. From time to time, there was a fire which made people sweat, sometimes there was ice which chilled everyone to the bone, sometimes there were golden winds as sharp as blades, sometimes mud appeared which slowed their movements, and sometimes there was wood. Apart from those 5 elements, there were terrifying thunders which were always looming. Many people couldn't dodge the lightning and had to endure the pain. Yi Renlei led the way, so the pressure was the greatest for her, but she was still smiling. She smiled at Shui Baiyao and Feng Xian while saying, "2 sisters, one has an ancient phoenix body and the other one has a celestial body. Both of you use energies related to life and vitality. I'm a bit envious." Yi Renlei, you're one of the 10 strongest cultivators of Ba Huang province, my sister and Shui Baiyao are the envious ones, said Shui Ling. She was young, but in the future, she'd be extremely beautiful. Yi Renlei can use 4 types of abstruse energies, so I have a long way to go before I can catch up with you, said Shui Baiyao. Even though she sounded indifferent, everybody knew she didn't like competitions. I only know 3. This time, the diviner created 10 bridges and each bridge can help people study abstruse energies. I'm sure that the worst of us will still be able to learn one type of abstruse energy. I'm almost certain that the diviner is looking for someone who can understand 10 different sorts of abstruse energies this time. Do you think such people exist? Asked Feng Xian. No matter what the others think, I am convinced there are some, said Yi Renlei, smiling in a resplendent way. The beautiful girls were walking, talking, and laughing. People sighed as they watched the scene. But concerning their topic, not many people believed that someone could understand 10 different types of abstruse energies. Abstruse energies are related to a person's body. Some people are considered strong, like Yi Renlei, because they already understand 4 types of abstruse energies, said Feng Xian. Abstruse strength was close to soul strength in that it was linked to the cultivator's body. Some very talented cultivators could understand a second or a third type of abstruse energies, but that was already incredible. Feng Xian knew some people who understood 4, 5, 6, or even 7 types of abstruse energies, but those people were already astonishingly powerful. She couldn't believe that anyone could understand 10 types. Because I know that 1,000 years ago, someone could understand 10 different types of abstruse energies, so why wouldn't I believe it, said Yi Renlei, smiling, making the girls shiver. 1,000 years ago, someone actually understood 10 different types of abstruse energies. Who? The Demon Emperor, the Peerless Demon Emperor, said Yi Renlei indifferently. Everybody shivered when they heard that name. Everybody knew his name, but few people knew about his life. How did Yi Renlei know that the Demon Emperor understood 10 different types of abstruse energies? Was it true? Not only that, according to legends, there are also cultivators who understood abstruse energies before they even broke through to the Zun Qi layer and had leveled it up to the maximum, said Yi Renlei indifferently. How was that possible? The continent of the 9 clouds was gigantic. Were there really such people? Maybe, whispered Feng Xian. Did such people really exist? Not maybe, I know it. I also heard that 5,000 years ago, Emperor Wu Tianjian used a sword technique and knew 10 different types of abstruse energies, said Yi Renlei like it wasn't a big deal. Lin Feng put a tablet in his mouth and chewed it while they continued moving. When he heard the Demon Emperor's name, he shivered. 10 types, that almost sounds like me. Lin Feng had a strange feeling. Could he become such a monstrous cultivator? Lin Feng was unhappy when he first arrived in the world because he didn't have a special body or special tools, but when he studied sword cultivation, he easily understood sword intent. When he studied wind, he understood wind, then fire, thunder, empty space, vitality, plus his spirit which, in the future, would have something to do with abstruse energies. At that point he would know 5-6 sorts of abstruse energies. He had also studied holy marks and alchemy. Even though he didn't know much in those fields, he made quick progress in their fields. He could also learn bestial skills and had even managed to understand desolate qi. The Demon Emperor. Lin Feng couldn't stop thinking about it, and then he smiled. Maybe he really was like the Demon Emperor. Chomp chomp. Lin Feng put another abstruse tablet in his mouth. Brother, what are you eating? Asked someone at that moment. Lin Feng looked at him. That man was very handsome. Abstruse tablets, said Lin Feng indifferently. The young man's eyes twinkled, he smiled and said, "You're really incredible." Then, he walked forwards as if he wanted to get closer to Yi Renlei. The people behind Lin Feng were speechless when they heard him. Abstruse tablets? He was eating such precious treasures like mere chewing gum. Lin Feng turned around and saw those people were annoyed. Lin Feng had a few abstruse tablets on him, so why not enjoy them? He had to get his intent levels up to level 9. Lin Feng had taken great efforts to obtain those tablets. He even spent fate seeds to find some while his sword found some others. So, why not use them if he could afford it? Lin Feng took out another abstruse tablet and threw it into his mouth again. They were also surprised that he had just eaten tablets of several different types. Did he think he could study all these kinds of strength? Or was he just eating them like candies? Chapter 1178, Church of Desire, Kaboom. Terrifying thunders suddenly struck Lin Feng. It was as if karma was paying him back for acting so carefree a moment before. Many people now smiled in a cold way. However, they quickly realized that the thunders flowed throughout his body, and then they saw him put another tablet in his mouth as if nothing had happened. The 5 elemental energies continued attacking, but Lin Feng remained unaffected. When he swallowed a fire abstruse tablet, he then studied fire abstruse energies. When he swallowed a wind abstruse tablet, he studied wind abstruse energies, sensing the wind brushing against his body. Boom boom boom. At that moment, more lightning struck down. The crowd looked at that special place in the horizon. It looked apocalyptic. Soon after that barrage of lightning, many abstruse tablets exploded and fell from the sky. Abstruse tablets. The crowd became overwhelmed with greed. Bzzz, bzzz, many people rose up in the air to take the abstruse tablets, but the energies were too oppressive and prevented them from rising up. Ah! Someone gave a horrible shriek as their head exploded in the air. The people behind him had attacked him to prevent him from taking the tablets. Renlei rose up in the air too. She looked as if she were dancing. She continuously moved around and grabbed abstruse tablets. Feng Xian and Xue Baiyao also started gathering abstruse tablets. Lin Feng took out his Tianji sword, which easily rose in the air and attracted abstruse tablets like a magnet. Many people looked at that move enviously. "Come back," shouted Lin Feng loudly. His Tianji sword came back and Lin Feng took all the abstruse tablets. At the same time, the crowd also flew back down to the bridge. "You're fast, little boy," said Yuan Fei. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. Yuan Fei was talking to Lin Feng's sword and had even called it a little boy. He could be funny sometimes. Lin Feng smiled and took an abstruse tablet. It was dazzling and contained pure energies. It was blue and it was a vitality abstruse tablet. Perfect, I wanted to understand that kind of strength, thought Lin Feng smiling. His third eye was filled with vitality chi from his fate seeds. Now it was about time for him to start studying it. Would he ever be able to understand 10 different types of energies? Lin Feng put the tablet in his mouth and closed his eyes. He calmly sensed the energy of life, vitality abstruse energy. It was as if he was a newborn discovering what it felt like to live for the first time. He could feel his organs, bones and muscles acutely. No wonder Renlei was interested in that kind of strength, the strength of life. What a subtle, mystical and incredible sensation. There are too many people. The bridges aren't large enough and the abstruse tablets are limited. Shouldn't we clean up a bit? Said the young man who had talked to Lin Feng just before, but now he was talking to Renlei. You're right. Let's clean up some, said someone else on the next bridge over. 2 silhouettes rose up in the air. Many people were now looking at Lin Feng. After arriving there, Lin Feng's special power to hide his chi had stopped working. People could now see that he had only broken through to the 6th Tian Chi layer now. 6th Tian Chi layer, 7 blue fate seeds, many abstruse tablets. Lin Feng hadn't been discreet. Meng Qing released an ice-cold chi that instantly chilled the crowd. At the same time, Jun Mo Shi, Xiao Dai and the others arrived next to Lin Feng and released their own energies. We definitely need to clean out the trash. More of the crowd was fixedly staring at Lin Feng. That guy had too many friends. Lin Feng looked calm though, as if nothing was happening around him. His eyes were closed and he was sensing vitality energies. It was exactly like Renlei had said, people who would survive would be the ones who had the potential to understand abstruse energies. However, it depended on how well they could understand them, or how many types they could understand. Lin Feng wanted to benefit from Fortune City's opportunities to the fullest. After leaving, he wouldn't have such great opportunities to understand abstruse energies again. And it definitely wouldn't be easy to find abstruse tablets in the outside world. Renlei ignored what was happening over there and continued walking. She smiled in a resplendent way, then turned around and said to everybody, "You're right, we need to fix this. Only 30 people can continue to this new area. So, I'm going first, said Yi Renlei smiling. Then she turned around and entered the new area. Eh. Everybody was astonished. Indeed, even though they could see Yi Renlei, it was like a hallucination, for she had already entered another area. Let's go. Many people started running as fast as they could. Yuan Fei immediately hit a lot of people with his wooden stick and sent them flying backwards. Let's go, said Yuan Fei. Meng Qing and Jun Mo she followed them to the next area. It was the same for all the bridges. As they got closer to the special areas, the qi was becoming thicker. After 30 people reached the next area, the bridges cut themselves and the people who were stuck on the previous levels looked at each other coldly. In people's heads, memories suddenly appeared. They understood that the battles were going to start now. From that moment on, they had 1 month to practice cultivation, and after that month, they would continue on to the next level. Only 20 people would continue to the next level, which meant 10 people had to be eliminated during that month. We're almost there, we're getting close to the purest vitality energies, said Yi Renlei smiling in a resplendent way. Then, she sat down and began studying the vitality energies, the energies of life. Of course, apart from the energy of life, people could also sense all the basic elemental energies too, including thunder and wind energies. Lin Feng took out a vitality abstruse tablet and put it in his mouth. Lin Feng needed to continue improving himself. A young man with bestial eyes glanced at the crowd, from time to time at Yi Renlei, from time to time at Shui Baiyao, Feng Xian, and Meng Qing. From time to time, he also glanced at Lin Feng in a cold way. Zhong Renyu, you practice passion and desire cultivation, but you better behave yourself here, said Yuan Fei to the young man who was glancing at all the girls. He was from the Church of Desire, which was also found in the celestial part of Ba Huang. The Church of Desire and the Heaven's Desires Palace were two powerful yet unconventional groups. The Heaven's Desires Palace only accepted beautiful girls and taught them how to use their beauty to attack other people. The Church of Desire only accepted men and taught them passion and desire skills. People from the Church of Desire liked the women from the Heaven's Desires Palace, but because Yi Renlei was stronger than Zhong Renyu, he couldn't do anything. The Heaven's Desires Palace and the Church of Desire had many powerful cultivators. I was thinking, who are we going to eliminate? Said Zhong Renyu smiling evilly. He then looked at the other people and said, I think we should join hands. Chapter 1179, Celestial Palace of the Immortals. Descendant Lin Feng wasn't strong because he had only broken through to the 6th Tian Qi layer, so he wouldn't be difficult to deal with, but he had strong friends such as Yuan Fei and the beautiful girl in the white clothes with the ice qi. Jun Mo Shi and Xiao Dai were also extraordinary. If he wanted to eliminate Lin Feng, he couldn't do it alone. We should start by eliminating weak cultivators indeed. But, relying on other people's strength is not acceptable. Indeed, everybody started talking. If they killed Lin Feng, they'd get 7 blue fate seeds. They would easily withstand the lightning strikes after that. Besides, they'd also have the opportunity to use those fate seeds at some point. Apart from his fate seeds, they wanted his abstruse tablets and holy weapons. If you eliminate people who are not related to me, I don't mind, but you can't eliminate people who are with me, otherwise, try and you'll see, said Yuan Fei ferociously. Many people frowned. In the Ba Huang province, apart from the 10 strongest geniuses, there were also people like Yuan Fei who were extremely strong that they didn't want to provoke. I can take care of Yuan Fei, said Zhong Renyu at that moment. Then, sharp lights appeared in the other people's eyes. If you don't practice cultivation and become stronger, how will you eliminate the other people? You're the ones who are going to be eliminated if you don't, said Xiao Dai at that moment. Yi Renlei, Shui Baiyao, Feng Xian were all practicing cultivation already, sensing the energies and understanding them. Lin Feng was doing the same as well. That girl is not bad, even though she's not as hot as the 4 most beautiful girls of Ba Huang, I'd go for her. Zhong Renyu, you want to have some fun with her as well, said someone smiling evilly. But Zhong Renyu glanced at him and ignored him. That guy was stupid. That girl rarely came out, so not many people knew her. June Mo. She slowly turned around and looked at that person. Boom. June Mo. She's fist turned golden as he punched the air in that guy's direction. Die. He also punched the air in June Mo. She's direction. He didn't think that June Mo. She could injure him. That guy completely turned to gold and threw himself at June Mo. She. He understood gold intent, so he didn't fear June Mo. She. Slash, slash, strength pierced through his golden body and reached his vital organs. His face turned deathly pale. Die. A terrifying strength bombarded June Mo. She's body. However, June Mo. She immediately recovered and golden lights appeared around him as well. His opponent continued punching him, but it was useless. June Mo. She's blood was boiling and he was recovering with insane speed. Die, shouted June Mo. She furiously. In a flash, that guy was violently propelled backwards and his life had almost entirely been taken. He only had one mouthful of air left. That's vital abstruse energy. After that, he closed his eyes. The others were talking. No, it's not. It's not vital abstruse energy because no chi appeared. What was that? There was only one possibility, an immortal body. You're from the celestial palace of the immortals, said someone suddenly. Immortal blood, immortal abstruse energies. Finally, they thought about someone. The news was very recent that the emperor of the celestial palace of the immortals had found his descendant and had transmitted his immortal body as well as his immortal skills. He had replaced his descendant's blood, hoping he would become strong very quickly. At the same time, the emperor had also made his granddaughter, Xiao Dai, marry his descendant. Many people were jealous of that news and now it seemed like he was in front of them. If that guy was the one, then the girl they had just humiliated was Xiao Dai. Many people were angry. Yuan Fei was enough, now two more important people had appeared. June Mo. She looked at them, but wanted to meet his gaze. Another genius. Maybe he would become one of the strongest cultivators in the province and replace the previous ones. Huang Fu Long looked at June Mo. She scratched his head and smiled wryly. You managed to survive the difficulties of the Huang Sea and it seems like your luck didn't stop after that. June Mo. She shrugged and smiled. In the Huang Sea, not only had he survived, but he had also teleported to a place near the celestial palace of the immortals. Then, he had encountered Xiao Dai and he didn't know who she was back then. They became close to each other quickly and after that, Xiao Dai brought him to her house. June Mo. She initially didn't know what the celestial palace of the immortals was. But then he had met the emperor and what a coincidence, his body was similar to the emperor's. So, he received the emperor's teachings, blood and skill set. I hope you and Fei Yang were as lucky as you, said Huang Fu Long smiling. Being as lucky as June Mo. She would be difficult, the celestial palace of the immortals was an incredible place after all. The crowd calmed down after they learnt what June Mo. She and Xiao Dai's social status was. Nobody wanted to provoke them now. The crowd looked around. One person had died, so 9 more were left. No, whispered someone. How come there are only 28 people? He was in disbelief. 28 people, the crowd hadn't even counted. They then counted and their facial expressions changed. 28 people. June Mo. She had just killed one person, which meant that only 29 people had made it originally. Impossible, thought the crowd. They looked around, someone was hiding, but nobody could see that person. I don't know if you're a watcher or an assassin, but you should come out now, said Zhong Renyu indifferently. Many people felt like they were in danger suddenly. Interesting, whispered Yuan Fei. Surprisingly, someone had come in secret. There were the 10 strongest cultivators of Ba Huang province there, but there were also incredibly strong cultivators, the Watchers, and the Assassins. People had heard that the 7th assassin came to Fortune City, maybe that mysterious person was one of the 7 assassins too. Chapter 1180, Occupy, Invade, and Kill. Yuan Fei hit the ground with his wooden stick and made the ground shake. Then he sat down and practiced cultivation as well. Who would dare attack him? The crowd calmed down. Not many people could sit down and practice cultivation calmly. Some people were scared for their safety. Maybe they would be attacked after closing their eyes. Some other people were scared because there was someone that nobody could see. The three beautiful girls of Ba Huang were practicing cultivation calmly and worryless. The people who could become emperors were different from other people. More than 20 days passed and the girls practicing cultivation at the front were surrounded by vitality. They had managed to understand vitality intent was good for Shui Bai Yao and Feng Xian, but Yiren Lei didn't know what was good for her, just that vitality energies were not bad to have. The crowd was surprised that Lin Feng and his wife had also managed to study vitality intent. Was vitality intent of any use to him and his wife? The crowd didn't understand. Some people couldn't help but fight there. Some people were killed by surprise, some others because they kept staring at the beautiful girls and forgot to watch themselves. Some were too weak, and in the end, they were eliminated and died. A month had almost passed, so some people were getting ready to fight to move on to the next step. Those who had been practicing cultivation since the start, now opened their eyes. Lin Feng smiled and swallowed another vitality abstruse tablet. How pleasant. Then, he closed his eyes again and studied vitality intent again. He should die, said someone talking about Lin Feng. Lin Feng was the weakest one left and he was practicing cultivation safely in front of everyone else only because so many people were protecting him. The young master from the celestial palace of the immortals, the young master from the mountain of flowers and fruit, the celestial girl, and on top of that he ate abstruse tablets like they were cheap candies. But nobody had attacked him since the first day. Finally, a full month passed. Lin Feng stopped practicing cultivation and he was smiling resplendently. He stood up, looked at his friends, and said, Yuan Fei, some people want to be the first ones to go to the next level, let's see who will make it. How cruel, thought the crowd. Hee, let's see, said Yuan Fei laughing. He raised his gigantic wooden stick and remaining no-names took a few steps back. Then he hit the ground and a gigantic canyon appeared. Cross that hole and I'll hit you with my stick, shouted Yuan Fei furiously. Ha, are you just sitting and waiting for death? Asked Zhong Renyu. Someone came to him and said, we have so many people, so why do we fear him? A sound spread in the air. That person lowered his head as a black flame appeared on his heart and he died. He didn't even know how he had died. People with evil intentions should die, said Lin Feng indifferently and mockingly. He looked at Zhong Renyu and said, some people better shut the hell up. Even though what Lin Feng said wasn't pleasant to hear, it wasn't groundless. The one who had just died didn't even know who or what had killed him. Those who have managed to make it this far are all tough, just think about it, said Lin Feng laughing. Boom boom boom. The ground seemed like it was going to collapse and a strong wind buffeted the cultivators' bodies. Kaboom. Lightning struck the crowd and many people didn't have time to react, so died instantly. In that brief moment, 20 people moved to the next step and the others failed. What a powerful strength, thought Lin Feng. They arrived in the next area and the energies were even thicker there. They were nearing the special places where gold, wood, fire, earth, water and thunder energies were even more intense. And now, some pure abstruse energies were also present in the air. Kaboom! Thunders continued striking the ground. Then, many abstruse tablets appeared. Lin Feng shouted and unsheathed his sword to grab some. Everybody moved at the same time and with extreme speed. Lin Feng's Tianji sword made its way back to him and had brought back a few dozen abstruse tablets. Lin Feng was satisfied. He instantly swallowed another vitality abstruse tablet. His vitality and empty space intent were the only ones which weren't level 9 now. All his other types of intent were one step away from becoming abstruse energies. Give me some abstruse tablets, shouted someone furiously. Bestial Qi dashed to the skies and moved towards Lin Feng. The Thunderbird, the crowd turned around and saw the Thunderbird attacking. The different bridges were now getting closer to each other so the Thunderbird could see Lin Feng. You again, shouted Yuan Fei furiously. His wooden stick blotted out the sky and crashed on the Thunderbird violently. Explosions sounded and Yuan Fei was propelled backwards. Abstruse strength. The Thunderbird's thunders had already reached the strength of abstruse energies. I'll teach you what abstruse energies are, shouted the Thunderbird furiously. Thunders rolled in the air and then condensed. Then, he released more energies at Lin Feng and his friends. I'll teach you, shouted Yuan Fei furiously. He released a terrifying qi which dashed to the skies as well. He raised his wooden stick and struck it down. At the same time, mountains appeared in the sky and fell down. Boom boom boom, the terrifying thunders broke the mountains, but Yuan Fei jumped forwards and roared. An ape appeared from his back. Yuan Fei was furious, the Thunderbird had learned how to use abstruse energy so now he was acting too arrogantly. Only 10 people can go to the next area. If you think you have no chances here, go to their bridge and try to move to their next area, said Qi Tiansheng laughing and pointing at Lin Feng. Qi Tiansheng was on the empty space bridge to improve her deployment spells. Even if they were going to be eliminated on that bridge, they could still steal other people's areas. It's an opportunity, Yuan Fei is distracted. Only 10 people can go to the next area, if you count the girls and them, you all won't make the cut. It's your last chance, said Zhong Rinyu in a serious way. The crowd suddenly released terrifying energies. They had to join hands to eliminate Lin Feng and the others. It's your chance now, you should join hands and invade their bridge. You all can still win, said Qi Jiao Jiao pointing at them again. Many people looked at that bridge and thought they might have a chance against them. Chapter 1181, You're dead now, so you can't have them. Qi Jiao Jiao was trying to convince other people to invade the other bridge. Apart from Lin Feng, 3 of the 4 most beautiful women of the region were there, as well as Meng Qing. Qi Jiao Jiao had recently heard that some people called them the 4 most beautiful girls of the province, excluding her from the rankings. Many people's silhouettes flickered. It was the first day on the new level so they had time to check if they could handle the pressure. Even if they only managed to eliminate a few people, that'd be well worth it because it would mean more openings later. Jun Mo she looked at those people and said coldly, come and fight. He rose up in the air. He was dressed in fine clothes and his immortal qi was rolling in waves in the air. Only if you can eliminate them will you have the opportunity to continue ahead. If you attack us, the consequences will be tragic, said Zhong Rinyu. Die, the crowd released terrifying energies. Meng Qing, Xiao Dai, Huang and Fu Long rose up in the air. The new area was too small, so they couldn't stand there and fight. Feng Xian looked at what was happening and jumped up in the air as well. From her back, a phoenix appeared. What? Feng Xian is going to attack them, said Zhong Rinyu surprised. Feng Xian looked indifferent, she just looked at Lin Feng without saying anything. Lin Feng had helped her once, so she had to repay that kindness. Since it's that way, let's fight, the crowd didn't look happy. If Feng Xian wanted to fight, so what? There were only 6 cultivators on their side and 9 on their own. If Zhong Rinyu could control Jun Mo Shi, the battle would be even easier. Kill the weakest ones, said Zhong Rinyu indifferently. Then immediately, golden qi appeared and a gigantic hand threatened Lin Feng. At the same time, a gigantic fire dragon appeared bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws. Everybody was attacking at the same time now. Sharp phoenix, deadly technique, shouted Feng Xian. Then a gigantic phoenix appeared and blotted out the sky. Meng Qing released here ice-cold energies and snowflakes started floating around in the air. Xiao Dai was strong as well. Her qi looked like a golden rain descending from the heavens, but it was extremely sharp. Those people seemed to have underestimated Xiao Dai and the others. At that moment, Zhong Renyu, who hadn't attacked for the entire time, smiled and said, "I'll show you, I can kill them in one shot." "That bastard," thought the crowd. "How shameless." He waited for a crucial moment to attack and steal their fate seeds. But they couldn't do anything about it at this point. Only one person wasn't fighting yet, Lin Feng. He was standing in the back and watching with a cold smile on his face. He took out his bow and knocked 8 arrows in it. "Meng Qing," shouted Lin Feng. Meng Qing understood. Snow seal. Snow blanketed those people and they felt like they were going to freeze. At the same time, Lin Feng shot 8 whistling arrows filled with terrifying fire energies. Horrible shrieks sounded as 2 people, the weakest ones, died instantly by those arrows. Now, only 6 were left. "Die," shouted Jun Mo Shi. He released incredible energies and suddenly, blood splashed as one person died. The battle was suddenly balanced in terms of numbers. "Now, this is a fair fight," said Lin Feng. He put his bow away and took out another holy weapon, a halberd with a terrifying chi. Zhong Renyu's facial expression turned even colder. "That guy." Meng Qing attacked someone and froze him, then Lin Feng immediately jumped and cut off that person's head with his halberd. As that happened, Feng Xian's phoenix was fluttering around someone and continuously attacking him. He continued dodging her attacks, however, a halberd soon crashed into him and killed him. Lin Feng retreated after killing that person. He didn't want to participate in the battle anymore. He had just done what Zhong Renyu had just said, attack and kill people in one strike. "Zhong Renyu, are you still not fighting?" said someone furiously at that moment. His face turned deathly pale. Lin Feng had attacked him by surprise and now there weren't too many people left. However, Zhong Renyu had still chosen not to fight. A destructive energy rose in the air, then a strong wind blew and that person's head exploded. "How noisy," said Zhong Renyu looking particularly evil. Huang Fulong, who was now in front of Zhong Renyu, was surprised to see him kill an opponent so quickly. "Bastard." Only 2 cultivators were left and their chi was chaotic because they were panicking at this point. By this time, Yuan Fei and the Thunderbird's battle had calmed down. Neither of them had the advantage. The Thunderbird controlled abstruse energies, but Yuan Fei had an incredible physical strength. In the end, he had managed to make the Thunderbird move back. Zhong Renyu took a step back when he saw Yuan Fei glance around. Then, he looked at Lin Feng with a cold smile and said, "Good methods, however, I am more competent than you and that's why I should go to the next level. It's unfortunate that so many people here are protecting you, I can only go somewhere else." Then Zhong Renyu moved to another bridge. Those who had left were now panicking. They had initially wanted to go through their bridge, but now Zhong Renyu was going to take theirs. Despicable and shameless. "You shouldn't be able to continue to the next level," said Qi Jiao Jiao mockingly while looking at Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled indifferently and looked at Yuan Fei. "Yuan Fei, we're done here I think. We can come back whenever we want now. Shouldn't we go to another bridge to learn about other kinds of abstruse energies?" Yuan Fei smiled and said, "All right, let's go." They both rose up in the air and went to another bridge. Lin Feng put his halberd away and took out his Tianji sword instead. After a few seconds, Lin Feng and Yuan Fei landed on the edge of the empty space bridge. "I want to practice cultivation here for a few days," said Lin Feng laughing calmly. "No problem, I'm staying with you," said Yuan Fei nodding. Qi Jiao Jiao, with a slight smile, said coldly, "How audacious, you actually dare to share our bridge." The others looked at Lin Feng furiously. "Didn't they want to go to our bridge too? Why couldn't we come to yours? Besides, I'm just going to practice cultivation here for a few days, that's all." "We don't intend to invade your bridge," said Lin Feng with a resplendent smile, as if he had just said something normal. "But those people weren't as easygoing as that." "That guy underestimates you, so you should solve the issue yourselves," said Qi Jiao Jiao in a cold way. One of the strong cultivators on the bridge said, "You're not scared because someone protects you. But I'm interested in your weapon though. You want to bring about your own destruction." That person suddenly released oppressive energies and condensed empty space energies in his hand. He then threw himself at Lin Feng. Lin Feng raised his head and glanced at him indifferently. His eyes were twinkling as he said, "I also know how to use empty space energies." Slash, a subtle sound spread in the air, as if the atmosphere was going to break. The crowd watched as dazzling empty space energies collided. Boom boom, rumbling sounds spread in the air, and then, the crowd was dumbstruck when they saw the guy who had provoked Lin Feng suddenly explode. He was dead. "It's true that I have holy weapons, unfortunately, you're dead now so you can't take them," said Lin Feng, breaking the eerie silence. Chapter 1182, Purple Fate Seeds, One Strike. The crowd was astonished. Lin Feng had killed his opponent in one strike. That bastard hid his strength. That sword contains empty space strength as well as thunderous energies. The crowd was outraged. Lin Feng had those powers during the battle before, but instead of using them, he had only relied on his halberd and bow. The crowd hadn't expected Lin Feng to be that strong without using any holy weapons. Qi Jiao Jiao was just as surprised as everyone else. She had underestimated him. Lin Feng had killed a few people and he had killed an extremely strong cultivator, so now he had 9 blue fate seeds in his third eye. Soon, he would have purple fate seeds, which meant he'd have 10 million fate seeds. If I kill him, I'll have purple fate seeds myself. Maybe then I'll be able to go to the very central special area and change my destiny forever, thought several people greedily. Once in the central area, there was a special kind of thunder that created many abstruse tablets with each strike. However, if they wanted to stand in the middle, they needed to have an incredibly strong physical body. "You wanted to take my vitality bridge, now, give me your fate seeds and I won't kill you," said Lin Feng, who was now rising in the air slowly. He was holding his Tianji sword and facing the few strong cultivators left. The crowd was astonished. Lin Feng was threatening them. How arrogant. Even if his sword contained terrifying thunder energies, so what? This was a 6-on-1 fight. Did Lin Feng think he could defy the laws of physics with the strength of the 6th Tianqi layer? Kill him. One shot, crush him and take his fate seeds. Terrifying energies quickly emerged. Lin Feng was insane to threaten them all together. "Dimensional blade, die," said someone, raising a blade which contained empty space energies. That blade could cut open the air and empty space energies enhanced its speed. With abstruse energies, that blade could teleport itself. "Die, empty space constriction," shouted someone else. Lin Feng was quickly surrounded by these energies. Lin Feng jumped forwards while releasing the force from the earth and sky. Million sword fusion. Suddenly, a million swords appeared in the air, but in a flash, they condensed into one. Lin Feng's sword energies destroyed the cage of energies around him and released dazzling purple thunder energies outwards. Ah! Someone gave a horrible shriek. His head exploded and his body disintegrated. Threatening energies emerged from behind Lin Feng. He used his Xiaoyao agility technique as well as his level 9 wind intent to evade. The attack from behind was making the ground shake, but Lin Feng's sword suddenly shot at that person. Back, that person's face turned deathly pale. That sword was terrifying, it seemed alive and could even swallow thunder energies. Kaboom! Dazzling thunder energies emitted explosive sounds. The Tianji sword was whistling as it approached his head and pierced through it. Another strong cultivator was dead. Slash, slash, whistling blade sounds were approaching Lin Feng. Another strong cultivator had appeared in front of Lin Feng holding an empty space crystal ball in his hand. Lin Feng's hair was fluttering as he took out his halberd and jumped forwards, condensing all the physical strength in his body. It was as if a mountain was falling from the sky. His halberd and the empty space crystal ball collided. However, a lightning ball crashed onto the chest of Lin Feng's opponent, making him shriek horribly. After which, the halberd continued moving and lacerated his body. Die. An infinite amount of energy surrounded Lin Feng. Someone was behind Lin Feng and was smiling evilly. After all, Lin Feng didn't have 3 heads and 6 arms, he couldn't do 10 things at the same time. Lin Feng was now bleeding, but he took out his armor. The enemy looked distraught because that armor was surrounded by purple energies. The enemy had no way to kill Lin Feng now. Die, shouted the enemy furiously. Terrifying lightning crashed into Lin Feng's enemy. At the same time, Lin Feng turned around quickly and condensed thunderous energies in his fist. Then, he punched the opponent in front of him. At that same time, someone was being attacked by the Tianji sword, which seemed alive and could attack people by releasing its own thunderous energies. In a flash, out of 6 strong cultivators, only 1 was left. 5 people had been killed in such a short time. The crowd was astonished, they even felt dizzy. How could a cultivator of the 6th Tianqi layer be so terrifying? How many kinds of intent does he know how to use? The crowd was astonished. Explosive thunderous energies, atmosphere lacerating empty space energies, scorching hot fire energies, extremely quick wind energies. He knows 4 types of energies already. Besides, Lin Feng had gone to the Vitality Bridge, so did he understand vitality energies too? Impossible. In any case, that was only intent, so it didn't count. For it to count, he would have to turn those into abstruse energies in the future. Many geniuses who understood 5-6 types of intent only managed to turn 3 into abstruse energies. 4 types of abstruse energies was astonishing. No matter what, they didn't think that Lin Feng could become one of the 10 strongest cultivators of the province anyways. The last one remaining was looking at Lin Feng evilly. He had an uneasy feeling right then because Lin Feng was smiling back at him. Die. Lin Feng said only one word. His Tianji sword emitted furious whistling sounds and thunderous energies emitted blasting sounds. The strong cultivator's face turned deathly pale. He performed some hand seals and suddenly turned into an illusion. Subtle sounds were heard as he became transparent. The Tianji sword pierced through him, but it didn't kill him, almost as if it had gone through a hologram. He shouted furiously and threw himself at Lin Feng. This was his last chance. Lin Feng jumped forwards, condensing the natural force of the earth and sky. He raised his fist and used his gigantic holy spell, which made his fist as heavy as a mountain. Break, shouted Lin Feng's enemy furiously. You won't have any chance, said Lin Feng, condensing 3 different types of energies in his fist, as well as natural forces. Die. Lin Feng's Tianji sword came back like a boomerang and pierced through his opponent's head. The enemy exploded and his fate seeds went to Lin Feng's 3rd eye. Lin Feng grabbed his Tianji sword and slowly turned around. His forehead was dazzling, it seemed like he was bathing in an explosive strength. Lin Feng now had a purple fate seed in his 3rd eye. Lin Feng could sense his vitality increasing, he felt stronger than ever. Purple, 10 million gems, the crowd was astonished. Were they hallucinating? Even the 10 strongest cultivators of the province didn't have that many. Lin Feng, a cultivator of the 6th Tianqi layer, now had a purple fate seed. Chapter 1183, Celestial Thunders, the Path of Enlightenment. Vitality is the source of life, without vitality, nothing would exist. And with these purple seeds, you feel more alive, like your body is being cleansed from impurities. It feels as if I was reborn. The world around him became much clearer and even more distinct. He felt much stronger too. Those purple fate seeds could make an ordinary cultivator become as strong as a dragon. Lin Feng turned around and looked at Zhong Renyu and purple lights appeared. Zhong Renyu smiled and said, I helped you get a purple fate seed, let's see how you intend to thank me. With your fate seeds, said Lin Feng. His Tianji sword rose up in the air and thunders flashed. Zhong Renyu slightly trampled on the ground and rose up in the air, then he jumped backwards and landed 1,000 meters away. Brother Lin, don't exhaust yourself and keep some strength. Many people will want your purple seed, said Zhong Renyu smiling indifferently. He then left for another bridge. Useless cultivator, you can't even manage to seduce women, so all you can do now is escape. The first abstruse energy you studied must have been wind energy, so you could escape, said Yuan Fei disdainfully. Zhong Renyu's speed was incredible, so he probably used wind abstruse energy. Lin Feng nodded. He had noticed how fast Zhong Renyu was too. His Tianji sword came back to him and appeared above his head. He sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes, sensing the empty space abstruse energy. Those who dare attack me will die, yelled Lin Feng coldly. What an incredibly arrogant guy. He dares practice cultivation on another bridge and threatens everyone else. I can practice cultivation anywhere, said Yuan Fei smiling. Then, he sat down next to Lin Feng, further surprising the crowd. Qi Jiao Jiao's mouth was twitching. She was fixedly staring at Lin Feng, but to Lin Feng, she didn't exist. She was one of the 4 most beautiful girls of the province, so everybody found her extremely attractive. Lin Feng was different though. The only thing he did since the first time he saw her was steal her fate seeds. Qi Jiao Jiao looked at her brother, Qi Tiansheng, who was sitting at the front of the crowd. Nobody wanted to sit next to him. He was trying to practice cultivation as much as he could, benefiting from the advantages of Fortune City, step by step. The bridges were a gift from Fortune City, how could he let such an opportunity slip? Practice cultivation as much as you can, said someone to Qi Jiao Jiao. Her eyes twinkled and her mouth twitched. She walked towards Qi Tiansheng and started practicing cultivation next to him. Her brother's empty space intent was at level 1, soon, it'd be level 2. The others also started practicing cultivation. Lin Feng had told them that he wouldn't stay there long, so he wasn't going to steal their open spots. The celestial thunders struck down now and then, which caused abstruse tablets to fall from the sky. Lin Feng had managed to obtain plenty of empty space abstruse tablets during that time. With the empty space energies being so thick and rich, coupled with the tablets, his empty space intent was level 9 after 20 days. He opened his eyes and smiled. Yuan Fei and Lin Feng then went back to the other bridge and continued studying vitality energies. Vitality intent was the only one he hadn't understood up to level 9. He didn't waste time, he immediately continued studying it until the end of the allocated time. At the end of the 30 days, there were only 10 people left: Lin Feng, Meng Qing, Yuan Fei, Jun Mo Shi, Xiao Dai, Wang Fu Long, Yi Ren Lei, Shui Baiyao, Feng Xian and Feng Ling. Well, everyone could see 10 people, but with the invisible one, there was one more person. Therefore, everybody had a strange facial expression. Lin Feng was annoyed because the 10 of them got along quite well. However, the extra one could be a watcher. If that was the case, Lin Feng hoped he'd continue on as well. On the bridge next to them, people were fighting already. Qi Tiansheng had stopped practicing cultivation and had killed a few people and stole their fate seeds. Qi Tiansheng didn't choose his opponents according to their strength, he chose them according to the number of fate seeds they had, and he didn't give them any chances. That kind of strong cultivators was merciless, they used corpses as stepping stones to become stronger. Qi Tiansheng wasn't the only one. The Great Oriental Greenfinch Rock was the same on his bridge. However, he only killed human beings and was merciful towards other beasts. Everybody, I'm not like the others, I don't want to fight. However, we have 11 people, so we should solve that problem, said Yi Ren Lei smiling in a seducing way. Don't worry sister, I won't continue, said Feng Ling smiling. She then said, I just came to see my sister, the next level won't be as fun anymore, so I won't be going. After that, she walked back. Since you want to give up, the problem is solved, said Yi Ren Lei smiling in a resplendent way. She then looked at Lin Feng in a seducing way. Lin Feng shook his head. A meaningful glance from Yi Renlei was enough to make any man collapse. If she managed to learn abstruse energies, then she'd be even more terrifying. People who weren't as determined could easily lose to her. The bridge illusion started shaking. It was time. Yi Renlei and the others continued to the next level as the bridge behind them collapsed. Now, the 10 bridges were linked and had turned into a gigantic, ancient battlefield. Terrifying energies dashed to the skies and lightning struck the ground. Vertical bridges led to the special areas and each bridge could lead to a special area. For example, Lin Feng's bridge led to the source of life. 100 people were left in total and they all had the opportunity to go to those special areas. However, not everybody continued on. The energies were so brutal there that some people immediately died. Be careful, I'll go and try first, said Lin Feng to his friends. Everybody nodded. Lin Feng jumped and suddenly, an incredible rain of energies assaulted his body. Kaboom! Lightning struck Lin Feng's head. However, his purple seed protected him as he bathed in those purple lights. The purple thunders continued flowing throughout his body, as if he was taking a shower. Bzzz, 2 whistling sounds were heard overhead as Mo Peng rose in the air. His body was made of gold and he looked like a divine bird, the great oriental greenfinch rock. The thunderbird also jumped forwards and the ensuing lightning flowed through his body. He loved that feeling. 3 people had now made it to the center of the battlefield. But those special areas were above the battlefield. It seems like I can stand being here, thought Lin Feng. Only those who could stand it had an incredibly powerful physical strength. Lin Feng walked step by step. It seemed like he was reaching heaven. He didn't stop, despite the terrifying energies, and he soon made it to the central area. Lin Feng then stopped and raised his head. That was the very center of the area where the celestial thunders were roaring. Each time they struck, it was at this central area. Purple lights were continuously assaulting his body. He looked like he was fighting the sky. Lin Feng. Yuan Fei was staring at Lin Feng like he was insane. Everybody else was staring at Lin Feng. Was he insane? Even though he had a purple seed, it surely wasn't enough. Boom boom boom, purple lightning continued crashing into his body. Rumbling and explosions sounded each time. Boom. He knelt down and coughed up blood. His head was sore and he could barely breathe. He sat down cross-legged and raised his head to look up at a black hole. He smiled, looking like a madman and said, "Celestial thunders, show me the path of enlightenment." Thunders continued crashing onto his body. If he didn't have those 10 million gems, he would have died and vanished without leaving a trace. Chapter 1184, Lin Feng's explosive strength. Even if he could stand those strikes, Lin Feng would lose half his life each time they hit him. However, the purple fate seed instantly regenerated his vitality each time. Enlightenment, what a madman. He's really determined though, thought the crowd. Kaboom. Another lightning struck Lin Feng's body and made him shake violently. Lin Feng's muscles twitched. He coughed up blood, but he raised his head again, looked up at the sky and screamed, again. A thunderous energy had appeared in Lin Feng's hand. He slowly closed his eyes and sensed the explosive and destructive thunderous energies. Each type of abstruse energy was suitable for a certain kind of personality. Thunderous energies were suitable for impulsive, explosive, and arrogant people. If I came to master thunderous energies, I'd make my opponents burst like bubbles, whispered Lin Feng. Explosive lightning was still striking him and the electricity flowed throughout his body. However, this time, Lin Feng just shook and didn't spit out blood. He slowly stood up, and between his hands was a lightning ball. At that moment, the Thunderbird wasn't very far away as he was staring at Lin Feng. His eyes were bloodshot. He should be the one with the purple fate seed and the one sensing the thunderous energies so close their source. Die! The Thunderbird's silhouette flickered just after a lightning struck Lin Feng. His hand was filled with thunderous energies and he was aiming for Lin Feng's head. However, at that same moment, Lin Feng suddenly opened his eyes and two dazzling purple lights emerged. Real abstruse energy. The Thunderbird was astonished. He could see the abstruse energy in Lin Feng's eyes. However, he faltered. "Little bird, try if you dare," shouted Yuan Fei furiously. But Meng Qing quickly said, "Lin Feng is all right." Yuan Fei was surprised, but then he looked at Lin Feng and saw, from his eyes, that he was fine. "When someone disturbs me while I'm practicing cultivation, I will kill them," said Lin Feng coldly. He raised his fist, around which were millions of bolts of electricity. Everybody had to look away since his energies were too bright. "Die!" Lin Feng said one word and punched the air in the Thunderbird's direction. The ancient battlefield was shaking violently under this one attack. The Thunderbird roared violently as he sensed a terrifying and painful energy crawl up his arm. Cracking sounds spread could be heard and his fist started bleeding profusely. He flapped his wings and flew back. He then screamed at Lin Feng, "How come your physical body is stronger than mine?" He couldn't believe his eyes. He was a beast whose physical body had always been strong. He was a golden Thunderbird and possessed dark gold strength. Humans shouldn't be able to compete with him in terms of physical strength. However, a moment before, he had sensed how terrifying Lin Feng's physical strength was. Lin Feng's fist contained destructive abstruse energies even though it was soaked in blood. "You were stronger than me before, but from now on, you'll only be weaker than me," said Lin Feng indifferently. That simple sentence had a terrible impact on the Thunderbird's cultivation. The Thunderbird went insane when he saw how confident Lin Feng looked. Boom! More lightning struck Lin Feng's body. He raised his head and looked at the sky in a despising way. He opened his mouth and directly swallowed the strength of the lightning. His body was now becoming thunder itself. Physical strength was humans' weakness, or at least, it should be. The remaining people on the bridge didn't know Lin Feng, but from that moment on, they would remember him. Elsewhere on the battlefield, there were other people like Lin Feng who had purple fate seeds, but they weren't as determined. Those powerful thunders filled their hearts with hesitation. "Thunderbird, if you can't even manage to kill a feudal cultivator of the 6th Tian Qi layer, who on top of that influences your intent on the path of cultivation, you don't deserve to become a bestial emperor," said Mo Peng, who was now next to the Thunderbird. Mo Peng's fate seed had a dazzling purple color. The Thunderbird shivered under this sentence. Mo Peng was telling him to come back to his senses and remember that he had to devote his life to cultivation. "Brother Feng," said someone who looked rather ordinary. His skin was black and he was smiling indifferently, exuding an almost friendly appearance. "Fu Hei, I trust you have been well since we last met," said Lin Feng, smiling indifferently. Even though Fu Hei had only broken through to the 7th Tian Qi layer, Lin Feng still didn't trust him. "I'm all right. I've always known that you were an extraordinary person," said Fu Hei as if they had always been friends. "I think the same about you, brother. By the way, I lent you my Heavenly 9 Dragon Cauldron as well as the Golden Crow Fire. When do you intend to give them back?" said Lin Feng, smiling. Then he added, "I trust that they are still in your sleeve." Fu Hei's mouth twitched. Lin Feng was talking loudly, so everybody could hear him. "Brother Feng, I like your sense of humor. I'll continue to practice cultivation now. With that, I'm off," said Fu Hei. He then rose up in the air. He wanted to go to the special fire area. Lin Feng smiled in a resplendent way. He had talked loudly enough so that Cheong Chi could hear him. Cheong Chi needed such fire to become stronger, so now he could go and have fun with Fu Hei. Lin Feng then sat down cross-legged. His Tianji sword was floating around and was struck by the lightning as well. An infinite amount of energy surrounded Lin Feng. They were attempting to break his soul. He had used his soul to raise his sword and used certain strengths to clean it. His Tianji sword flew into the black hole in the sky, but it seemed like it was going to break. That sword's soul exists thanks to abstruse energies. After cleaning my sword, the soul I gave it became its very own soul. The first soul I gave to my sword is a thunder soul, but now I need to give my sword's soul created from empty space energies. Lin Feng was soaked in a cold sweat. His soul felt extremely sore, but he was determined. The lightning that struck him were his ingredients to make his physical body stronger and to make his sword stronger too. Slash! At that moment, a dazzling sword light moved towards Lin Feng, specifically towards his third eye. Someone was attempting to attack Lin Feng by surprise. Be careful, shouted Meng Qing. Lin Feng was motionless, nobody could disturb him now. Die! Lin Feng was surrounded by abstruse thunder energy and empty space strength. He released the energies and suddenly the surprise attacker's head exploded. Thunder and empty space energies together created an overwhelming strength. Many people noticed Lin Feng, and after they saw his attacks, they didn't dare get close. Another beast had appeared. He was on the path of enlightenment. He was seated, practicing cultivation, defying the laws of heaven, and if anyone dared attack him, he'd destroy them. Chapter 1185, The Evil Black Mage, Abstruse Thunder Energy and a Powerful Empty Space Intent. The crowd was incredulous. Some people are going up and you don't need a purple seed to go up there, but you can only go up via the bridge, said someone. You go, I don't need anyone to protect me, said Lin Feng to Yuan Fei and the others. They nodded, all right. You be careful, everybody said that before rising up via the Vitality Bridge. Kaboom! A terrifying energy crashed onto Lin Feng's body and shook his soul violently. However, he grinded his teeth, blood splashed out of his mouth, and raised his head. Empty space area, the source of life, the fire area of desolation, the deadly wind area, I want all those abstruse energies, said Lin Feng jumping. Rumbling sounds spread in the air as Lin Feng rose up towards the black hole. Terrifying lightning striking him and the energies were incredibly oppressive. Die! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. He was bathing in those terrifying thunderous energies and moving towards the sky with an indomitable will. Kaboom! Lightning struck Lin Feng again and pushed him down. Boom! Lin Feng jumped and rose again. Lightning kept striking him, but it didn't affect his determination. Lin Feng tried a few times before finally he rising up in the air. Those who kept falling down looked at him enviously. Lin Feng was the first one to go up from the center. On his left and right were some special areas, on his left was an icy world, and on his right was a world of fire. Above him was a windy world with hurricanes and tornadoes. Farther above that was the empty space world. And above that were rivers of deadly energies, and finally, above those was the source of life. Boom boom boom. The clouds in the air looked apocalyptic. A few steps more and he directly entered the empty space world. Lin Feng's flesh and soul felt were hurting so much, as if his body were going to explode. Normal people couldn't stand that level of pain. He was now studying empty space abstruse energies. They were piercing through his skin, through his pores, like a million needles. Thunderous energies were explosive and destructive, while empty space energies could create its own spaces. It could also lacerate the atmosphere, it could also influence speed and distances. It was one sort of abstruse energy which included several other types of strength. Cultivators had to study it intensively to understand it at higher levels. Lin Feng closed his eyes and examined the empty space energies flowing throughout his body. Even though it was painful, Lin Feng ignored the pain because it would help him in the future. Apart from Lin Feng, other people came to the empty space area and studied the potent empty space energies. From outside, the empty space area looked small, but from inside, it was gigantic. One couldn't see the end of it if they tried. The other areas were probably like this too. Lin Feng sat down cross-legged and meditated. He sensed the empty space energies cleansing his soul and body. He started understanding that energy, especially its lacerating properties. Lin Feng thought about Qi Tiansheng, back when he had killed the golden crow using empty space strength. The difference between people who understood its lacerating properties and those who didn't was enormous. Lin Feng sat down cross-legged for 3 days like this. In his hand, he condensed a golden strength which could lacerate space itself. If someone looked at it, they would find that it kept changing every second. Abstruse empty space energy. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. He was getting ready to leave for the other areas, however, a terrifying energy emerged. He turned around and saw someone in a dazzling robe in the distance. What a terrifying holy weapon. It contains authentic abstruse empty space energies. Lin Feng shivered. At the same time, the others also noticed that robe. Many people's silhouettes flickered towards that robe. Bzzz. Lin Feng changed his face and clothes, as well as his qi. Now he was surrounded by evil cursing energies and looked like a black mage. He started running with the scepter in his hand. When the crowd sensed those evil energies, some people turned around and threw themselves at Lin Feng. "Who's that guy?" asked someone. He was surrounded by cursing energies and his qi was incredibly evil. "Curse!" Lin Feng stretched out his hand and energies appeared which dashed to the skies and crashed onto that dazzling robe. Someone stretched his hand out and put his hand on the robe, but suddenly, he gave a horrible shriek. The cursing energies had enveloped his hand. "Cursing energies, who are you?" asked that person turning around and looking at Lin Feng coldly. Had that black-cloaked character been hiding there the whole time? "That robe is mine," said Lin Feng in a deep and evil voice. He continued moving towards the robe. No one could see Lin Feng's real cultivation level because he was surrounded by those cursing energies. "Die!" shouted someone in who then released lacerating energies. "Destroy!" Lin Feng pointed at that person with his scepter and his enemy's lacerating energies disappeared. Lin Feng looked at him coldly and said, "Those who try to confront me will die." Curse! Cursing energies descended from the sky and that person's pure qi dashed to the skies, but the cursing energies were too powerful. Lin Feng pointed his scepter at the enemy and cursing energies surrounded him again. Then he slowly lied down and died. Everybody was shaking. That scepter was even better than a high-level holy weapon, it was a peerless holy weapon. Those who tried to block its owner had to die. "Who are you?" asked someone staring at Lin Feng in a cold way. It was one of the 10 strongest cultivators of the province, Qi Tiansheng. "That's not important, those who confront me will die." Lin Feng was still releasing cursing energies with his scepter. Chapter 1186, Stealing the Robe. He's surrounded by cursing energies, so we can only see his face. The crowd was staring at Lin Feng and trying to figure him out. The Watchers, the Assassins, the Black Mages, had all those incredible people come out for real? Had they been hiding in the darkness the whole time, to the extent that people didn't even know that they were there or who they were? The crowd was furious. That robe was probably a peerless holy weapon and had something to do with empty space energies. It was perfect for people who practiced empty space cultivation. Qi Tiansheng was holding a golden tower which suddenly became gigantic. Qi Tiansheng was from the Qi clan in the eastern part of Ba Huang. Die! The tower suddenly released terrifying empty space energies and moved towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng shook his hand with the scepter in it and an ancient tree appeared. It suddenly grew with incredible speed. It had some red marks on it. Nobody knew what kind of skill that was, it was probably an ancient spell. Dazzling cursing energies appeared from the tree, those must be holy marks from the antiquity. Boom! The tree rose up in the air and crashed into the tower. Dazzling golden lights shined bright, but they didn't break the tree at all. "Soul cursing," said Lin Feng, releasing cursing energies which dashed to the skies. Qi Tiansheng was surprised. Lin Feng's peerless holy weapon was too terrifying. He recalled his tower and at the same time, he released golden lights and disappeared. Lin Feng suddenly sensed energies surrounding him. Die! Dazzling beams of light appeared and moved towards his head, but Lin Feng had anticipated that move. He shook his hand and released his own empty space abstruse energies, weakening those lights. Curse, said Lin Feng. At the same time, he condensed cursing energies in his fist and punched the air. Then a silhouette appeared. Qi Tianxing still looked calm. He performed some hand seals and a cross filled with empty space strength appeared in front of him. At the same time, Lin Feng's fist was stopped by that empty space energy. Even so, the cursing energies were too terrifying and crashed onto Qi Tianxing's body, making him shake. Then, he disappeared. You're mine, shouted Qi Tianxing furiously, and at the same time, he used his tower to oppress the dazzling robe. However, the robe blocked it and he couldn't take it. As expected, thought Qi Tianxing. The tower couldn't take the robe because the level of the robe was too high. Instead, he now released fire energies to attack the cursing energies. That scepter must be a peerless holy weapon since it actually enveloped the robe, thought Qi Tianxing. He needed to destroy the cursing energies to take the robe, it was suicidal to try otherwise. Lin Feng continued moving forwards, not fast, but with each step he took, he pronounced a word like he was chanting incantations. Nobody can compete with the cursing scepter, if they try, they'll die. Lin Feng was still chanting incantations and was destroying the crowd's intent, bit by bit. You're insane, shouted Qi Tianxing furiously. He released his soul, but it was useless, his face started turning black as if he was dying. Are you not afraid of a backlash? Asked Qi Tianxing while releasing more scorching hot flames. He wanted to burn the cursing energies away. Qi Tianxing understood cursing energy, it was a mysterious energy which had millions of forms, of which it could be used to destroy people's souls. However, if the target's soul was strong enough, it could cause backlash and curse the caster. Cursing strength was even scarier than demonic and Buddhist energies. Lin Feng could only use a small part of the Peerless scepter's power, otherwise, he would even have been able to kill powerful Zun cultivators with it. There's no concern because I know that my soul is stronger than yours, said Lin Feng in a deep and scary voice. Qi Tianxing pulled a long face, he had to destroy those cursing energies, otherwise, the consequences would be tragic. I will find out who you are, said Qi Tianxing in a cold way. Then, he disappeared. The others looked furious as well. Lin Feng glanced at them in a cold way and then their silhouettes flickered and left. Even if the robe was extremely powerful, it wasn't worth risking their lives for. Cough, cough, after the crowd left, Lin Feng coughed up blood. The cursing strength had an impact on him. Luckily, he had a strong soul, otherwise, he would have been even worse off. His face was deathly pale at that moment. His cursing strength disappeared and then he put his hand on the robe. However, a terrifying strength appeared above his head. Die! Lin Feng punched the air with his hand filled with empty space energies. Slash! Lin Feng's hand was cut and blood gushed. His face became even whiter. If he didn't have such a powerful physical strength, his hand would have been cut off right there. Piss off! Lin Feng released cursing energies again and attacked the strength above his head. However, a dazzling empty space blade moved towards his head. He had to block the attack with his scepter. The enemy still hadn't showed himself. How shameless, thought Lin Feng. If he had been too slow, the enemy would have stolen the robe from him. Qi Tianxing's abstruse strength was already level 2. Lin Feng took his hand back, with the robe, and released vitality energies to heal it. Then, he sat down cross-legged and sensed the painful empty space energies attacking his soul. He was lucky that his will and intent were now as solid as iron. But with Qi Tianxing already back, he couldn't do much. He especially couldn't risk unveiling who he was. For his scepter, the strongest cultivators would attack him to steal it. Alone against Qi Tianxing was already dangerous, but if someone as strong as Qi Tianxing joined hands with him, Lin Feng would be doomed. At that moment, a beautiful silhouette appeared and made Lin Feng smile. It was Qi Jiao Jiao. She was looking at Lin Feng in a strange way, scared. Bzzz. Lin Feng's silhouette flickered. He threw himself at Qi Jiao Jiao and released cursing energies to surround her. You dare attack her, shouted Qi Tianxing furiously, stepping in front of Qi Jiao Jiao and releasing energies to block the cursing energies. Die, said Lin Feng. His cursing energies gushed forward. However, Qi Tianxing was as fast as lightning. He grabbed Qi Jiao Jiao and they both moved backward at full speed. But even then, the cursing energies were still heading in their direction. Lin Feng smiled and rose up in the air as fast as he could. He put his scepter away and immediately moved towards the source of life. As Qi Tianxing threw himself at the cursing energies to block them, he watched as a silhouette went into the area with the source of life. Qi Tianxing had a bad feeling and went to the area with the source of life too. Vitality energy was omnipresent in that area, it was pure and felt like a waterfall of pure energies. The scepter and the cursing energies had completely disappeared and there was a dozen people there. He knew that the scepter-wielding cultivator was now in the crowd, or maybe that person had already left the area. Qi Tianxing sat down cross-legged and cleansed the cursing energies which were still sticking to his body. Chapter 1187, Tear Stain, Source of Life. At that moment, Lin Feng was in the area with the source of life, bathing in the pure energies. He had already taken off his mask. From outside, the area of the source of life seemed small, like a fountain. Once inside, it was a gigantic waterfall of pure vitality water. However, the water was flowing very slowly. Lin Feng felt great in there. That place was completely different from the empty space area. Lin Feng now felt like he was having a bath, and it was extremely pleasant. Vitality strength. Lin Feng was bathing and his blood was circulating better. The painful sensation he had since the empty space area was now fading. He continued going against the current of the waterfall. Even though he knew that Qi Tianxing was there, he didn't look at him. If he hadn't used his scepter against Qi Tianxing, he would have lost for sure. Now he had to be careful when using the scepter though, he couldn't show everyone he had it. Also in the water were some beautiful girls, Yi Renlei, Shui Baiyao, Feng Xian and Meng Qing. They were searching for the very source. However, even though the water was warm and pleasant to be in, it also contained an incredible strength which seemed to be falling down from the heavens, and it was oppressive. Even with her strength, Yi Renlei couldn't go up. Lin Feng had a strong physical body and a purple fate seed which granted him with an incredible vitality. He rose up and even passed in front of some people. Some people saw him, those with whom he got along well all smiled in a resplendent way. Prince Lin is also interested in the vitality tear stain, said Yi Renlei looking at Lin Feng and smiling. She was higher up than he was currently. You are extremely beautiful, just like a celestial being. You're like my wife even. I'm going to look for the tear stain you're talking about, said Lin Feng smiling. Even though all the people in there weren't his enemies, he was convinced that he'd have to fight if anything good appeared. I hope you will succeed, said Yi Renlei smiling in a seducing way. There was a girl not far from her and she was beautiful too. Even though she wasn't one of the 4 most beautiful girls from the Ba Huang province, she was extremely beautiful. She looked similar to Yi Renlei. It looked like she had something resembling a cold plum in her third eye. Apart from those beautiful girls, there were also 4 young men. Lin Feng recognized one of the 2 men at the front, he was Zhong Renyu. The other one was a young man in white clothes with a majestic qi, he looked like a hero. Yuan Fei had told him about that person, it was Wen Tiangu from the Wen clan. Interesting, thought Lin Feng. 2 of the strongest cultivators were there. The water was flowing onto Lin Feng, preventing him from moving any faster. What a big difference, thought Lin Feng looking at Yi Renlei and the others. Meng Qing, let's give up, said Lin Feng, suddenly smiling at Meng Qing and using telepathy. The distance was too important. Lin Feng figured they wouldn't be able to get to the tear stain. Meng Qing nodded. She didn't mind, she wasn't as strong as Lin Feng. Since he said that he wanted to give up and had smiled calmly, she smiled too. Lin Feng sat down cross-legged and sensed the vitality energies. A buzzing sound spread in the air. Lin Feng sensed hot energies pass next to him. He opened his eyes and saw Qi Tiansheng. He even stole a glance at him. Qi Tiansheng thought that no matter who was there, women or men, anyone could hide their face, their qi, and even their voice. So the one with the scepter could be anyone. Of course, the one with the scepter could already be gone too. I can recover much faster in here, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng raised his head and saw empty space energies surrounding Qi Tiansheng. Surprisingly, Qi Tiansheng was faster than everyone else. If Qi Tiansheng wanted to participate, he had an advantage over all the others. Even more interesting, thought Lin Feng, smiling as if all these things had nothing to do with him. He just calmly studied the vitality energies. Before coming to that place, he had leveled all his types of intent to the 9th level, so it was a lot easier for him to understand abstruse energies now. He knew he wasn't extremely strong, but he was confident that his understanding abilities were above average. He could understand everything he studied. Time passed slowly and then rumbling sounds were heard. Some people had made it close to the source of life. Qi Tiansheng had caught up with them and now he wanted to steal the treasure. However, Yiren Lei and Wen Tiange couldn't let him get it. Yiren Lei was releasing abstruse energies of seduction. Even Qi Tiansheng was influenced by her beauty. Besides, Yiren Lei also knew how to use illusional abstruse energies. Her energies quickly surrounded Qi Tiansheng, even his destructive empty space energies couldn't destroy her energies. Wen Tiange was also strong. When he moved his sword, it made people feel like they were going to die. Later, with abstruse energies, he'd become terrifying. Seeing such people battle makes me want to battle, thought Lin Feng. He wasn't as strong as the 10 strongest cultivators from the province, but he was convinced that soon, even without holy weapons, he would be stronger than them. Meng Qing, don't participate in that fight. You should find a place you like or stay here to study vitality energy. There's no need to follow me, said Lin Feng to Meng Qing. He then hastily turned around and left for the wind area. There had already been a battle there and someone had obtained the treasure of that special area. There were now 2-3 people sensing wind energies. Lin Feng found a place to sit and studied the wind energies. The wind was brushing against his skin, making him shiver. However, wind could also be as sharp as blades. Lin Feng wasn't only concentrating on wind though. In the area with the source of life, everybody was fighting, but because the energies were too oppressive, their strength was also weakened. How can you fight against a beautiful girl? Do you want to see me grow old and become ugly? Said Yiren Lei in a fragile voice. Men and women were all influenced by her voice, especially the men when they looked at her lips. If I can get it, no beautiful girl will be able to resist me, they'll all beg me to sleep with them, said Zhong Renyu evilly. Bzzz. At that moment, a sword streaked across the sky and moved towards the tear stain, which was actually a stone resembling jade. It doesn't look good, thought the crowd. Then, that sword took the stone, opened a hole, and left through it. The crowd was astonished. While they were fighting for the tear stain, a sword had stolen it from them. That sword was filled with empty space energies. Chapter 1188, Fu Hei's misfortune, it's him, thought the crowd, thinking about a particular someone. Sword and thunder abstruse energies. He was there practicing cultivation a short time before, then he had left and nobody had paid attention to him. Lin Feng is becoming even more interesting. Yiren Lei smiled and followed the sword out of the area with the source of life. The others followed her too. However, they saw the sword emit whistling sounds as it moved to the wind area where a black hurricane had appeared. They frowned, annoyed. All those areas contain special terrifying energies, except the area with the source of life. That's why so many people had gone there. They couldn't go to the wind area because the energies were too scary there. Even if they went there and could stand the energies, they wouldn't be able to fight very effectively. Feng Xian and Shui Baiyao went back to the water from the area with the source of life. As they were at the edge of the wind area, they had felt the terrifying wind energies brush against them. They needed to be stronger to go there. Prince Lin understands so many abstruse energies, but he should remember to give me back the tear stain. Yi Renlei, who was smiling. Her voice was carried by the wind. Then, she went back into the water. At that moment, Lin Feng was sitting cross-legged in the wind area and holding the tear stain in his hand. His body was filled with vitality. That was a precious treasure, but it wasn't the right time to modify it. He put it away and continued studying wind abstruse energies. At the same time, his Tianji sword absorbed the wind's strength. His Tianji sword already had an empty space soul from before. Now, his sword had 4 souls in total. Outside of Fortune City, he wouldn't have the opportunity to find so many places to condense sword souls, so he had to do as much as he could while he was still there. Lin Feng had stolen 2 treasures already. He was very satisfied. Some people glanced at him in a cold way now and then, but he ignored them. Everybody was benefiting from being there and studying the abstruse energies. After that, Lin Feng left the wind area and went to the fire area without wasting any time. After that, I'll have studied everything I could in here. This has been life-changing. It certainly changed my destiny, thought Lin Feng. Indeed, Fortune City had been life-changing for him. Once inside the fire area, Lin Feng saw 4 other people, 3 of them he had seen before. Fu Hei and his 2 fellow disciples. The other one was wearing a Taoist robe, chanting mantras. Lin Feng, brother, long time no see, said Fu Hei smiling as if they were good friends. Long time no see, said Lin Feng smiling. Then, he sat down cross-legged and immediately started studying the fire energies. 2 days later, his Tianji sword streaked across the sky and flew next to him. The Tianji sword then started absorbing fire energies. Lin Feng started using his cosmos burning sun technique as dazzling sun patterns appeared all around him. Half a month later, Fu Hei stood up, turned around and went to the one in the Taoist robe. He was smiling indifferently. I lent you the fire pearl for a while now, could you please give it back? The fire pearl should belong to a monk or a nun. An almsgiver shouldn't ask to have their gifts given back, said the Taoist monk with the demeanor of a transcendent being. You're joking, I saw it first and I lent it to you. You've had it for a month now even though I agreed to lend it to you for only a few days. Have you forgotten our promise, said Fu Hei smiling as if they were friends. Have I ever said that, said the Taoist monk looking surprised. Fu Hei was angry on the inside, but he continued smiling and said, it seems like we are of kindred spirits. Fu Hei then took a few steps and said, you promised you'd give it back, now it's time. Why deny it so flatly? I didn't promise anything and I don't lie. Why make fun of me and tarnish my reputation? I am a Taoist monk, said the monk loudly. Fu Hei didn't know how to react to this. This time Fu Hei walked around before saying again, the monk promised. I never said that. You promised. Fu Hei was speaking even louder. Fire appeared and his little flames looked like small snakes bearing their fangs and brandishing their claws. The flames also contained some black lights. That was void fire. Evil fire, whispered the Taoist. Fu Hei's fire was a celestial fire, but the Taoist monk made fun of him. Do you remember now? Said Fu Hei smiling indifferently. Little boy, I told you I never said anything like that, that's all there is to say, said the Taoist monk standing up. He took a few steps and shouted furiously, you think carefully now. Boom boom. Fire suddenly engulfed the entire area as a gigantic fire dragon appeared and stared down at Fu Hei. It opened its mouth and swallowed all the fire around the monk. Fu Hei's facial expression changed drastically. He didn't look indifferent anymore. How was that possible? It seems like you don't remember well, little boy. Very quickly, Fu Hei looked normal again, but his mouth was twitching. I was right, I've heard you always do that kind of thing where you incriminate people who are honest. Show me your ring and we'll see if you're not a liar, said the Taoist monk calmly. Fu Hei tried to look normal again. You're joking. My entire life is in my ring. Roar, the dragon spat out black flames. The Taoist monk stared at Fu Hei and said, I'm not joking. You're a bad person, so if you don't show me your ring, I'll kill you. We shouldn't go to such extremes, said Fu Hei. The Taoist monk's dragon was too monstrous, Fu Hei couldn't deal with it. Alright, remember me, said Fu Hei. The Taoist monk took the ring and threw into the dragon's mouth. With its powerful fire, it destroyed the connection between Fu Hei and the ring. Fu Hei was dumbstruck. The Taoist monk then took it and let his mind inspect inside. Then, he smiled happily, controlled himself to look normal again and said, that ring is mine. Fu Hei smiled and grinded his teeth at the same time, it's yours. Indeed, take off your clothes and give them to me, said the Taoist monk calmly. You, take them off, said the monk aggressively. The dragon spat out some flames again. Fu Hei was furious, but he took off his clothes. The monk found the sleeve and found many things inside it. An ancient cauldron with fire inside, many abstruse tablets and several other things. The monk took everything and then threw the clothes back at Fu Hei. He smiled and said, you're a good fire cultivator, even if you're a bad boy sometimes. Next time, remember to be a good boy. Remember to be a good boy. Fu Hei wanted to kill him, but he wasn't strong enough. Go, and remember what I said, said the monk waving. His dragon then disappeared. Fu Hei was furious. When he saw Lin Feng, his mouth twitched. He wanted to cry. Lin Feng was looking at him in a compassionate way. Emperor, I just want my cauldron and the fire, said Lin Feng using telepathy. He knew that the monk was actually Cheong Qi. Those are my things, it was difficult for me to get them. Why should you get them now, said Cheong Qi to Lin Feng using telepathy. Emperor, I know you can do anything in here, but at least give me back what's mine, said Lin Feng smiling. Alright, the Heavenly Nine Dragon Cauldron is yours. There were many other good things in the sleeve, I am interested in all of it. Little boy, remember what I said to him, said Cheong Qi, making Lin Feng laugh. The two friends were talking with their usual banter again. Chapter 1189, 6 Desires. Even though Cheong Qi used to be an emperor, now, his soul was broken. There were many things he couldn't do, like skills, techniques, etc. But in that fire area, his strength was enhanced. That was also precisely why Fu Hei couldn't deal with Cheong Qi in there. Fu Hei was seated at that moment, but he didn't feel like practicing cultivation anymore. He had lost everything he had gathered for the past 10 years. He had thought that his things were safe in his sleeves, but didn't believe someone would take everything. The worst thing was that the monk had told him to be a good boy. Lin Feng didn't think too much about. He had some compassion for Fu Hei, but Fu Hei was now suffering a double loss after trying to trick his enemies. Lin Feng closed his eyes and practiced cultivating his fire energies again. A sun pattern appeared around him and didn't take much longer before he understood abstruse fire energy. Thunder, empty space, vitality, wind and fire, thought Lin Feng smiling indifferently. He was more talented than he had thought. He already understood 5 different sorts of energies, but he wanted to study more. As Lin Feng was thinking, a terrifyingly oppressive energy surrounded him. He looked in the horizon and saw thunders. Kaboom! Lin Feng didn't have time to react before that blasting sound of thunder made his soul shake. The landscape changed and Lin Feng realized that he was now in a different place. The fire had disappeared, the other special areas had disappeared too. Many abstruse tablets were falling from the sky now. Bzzz. Silhouettes flickered as people started gathering the abstruse tablets. Cheong Chi had kept the special pocket which was in Fu Hei's sleeve and used it to gather more abstruse tablets. Lin Feng moved using wind energy, and at the same time, his Tianji sword also picked up the tablets. The others were moving fast as well. Those who were on the ground seemed disappointed, they hadn't managed to get any because they were too slow. Those who were on the ground were those who had been eliminated from the bridges. They hadn't been able to move further, so they could only see those who had managed beyond them. Unfortunately, my Tianji sword still needs some more fire to condense a soul, thought Lin Feng when his Tianji sword came back to him. It had 3 souls already, but it needed more. Lin Feng wanted to stay there longer, but it seemed like this was the end. Besides, each special area had a special treasure, but that's all they could take with them. Lin Feng tried to take some water from the source of life but he couldn't, it was as if the water had some magical properties. It instantly disappeared when he left. Even the abstruse energies they had sensed weren't real. After perfectly understanding abstruse energies, maybe Lin Feng would need a year to create the source of light, or a fire area, but that was only a hypothesis. Apart from the strong cultivators from Fortune City, not many strong cultivators could do that. Lin Feng glanced at the crowd, from the 100 people, only 30 were left. The others had probably been killed. Take the treasure from the source of life out, said Zhong Rinyu in a cold way, landing in front of Lin Feng. He looked evil and his qi was extremely powerful. His wind energies had become even stronger. The treasure from the source of life. The crowd looked at Lin Feng. There were treasures in every area, so everyone could have a treasure. Maybe you're the one who has it, said Lin Feng. You can't use the tear stain with your current strength. It would be better if someone like Yi Renlei had it, or me, said Zhong Rinyu smiling. He didn't look like he was going to attack, he just wanted to make other people jealous. I hope you can give it to me too, said Yi Renlei smiling in a seducing way. She could make any man's heart melt with that gaze. You're joking. If I didn't have a wife, I'd give you anything, said Lin Feng smiling yet refusing. Ah, how cute, you love your wife so much. I can sing a song for you if you want. Yi Renlei sat down cross-legged. She looked like a nymph. A zither then appeared in front of her. Celestial zither of the 6 desires, the crowd was astonished. Lin Feng, be careful, that celestial zither of the 6 desires is also called the demonic zither of the 6 desires. It contains the abstruse energies from the 6 desires. It can even make a demon go insane, said Yuan Fei to Lin Feng using telepathy. Yi Renlei really wanted Lin Feng's tear stain. Even extremely strong and determined men can be defeated by listening to the song of the 6 desires. Lin Feng's cultivation level is not that high, so you're exaggerating a bit by pulling that out, said Xiao Dai smiling. Why talk about loss or victory? I just wish I had someone like Lin Feng in my life. If he loves his wife, he will have proved it by facing my music. Besides, I can't play the song that well. Just a part of it, so don't worry, said Yi Renlei smiling. I won't do anything bad to Lin Feng, said Yi Renlei smiling. Then, her hands started dancing across the strings of the instrument. I'll listen to your song happily, it'll be my honor, said Lin Feng smiling. His soul was shaking, but he smiled and sat down. It's an illusion, thought Lin Feng, reminding himself that music could make people hallucinate. The sun rose up, the clouds moved with the wind, birds were singing, even flowers smelled good. It was more beauty than one could take in at once. Lin Feng had the feeling he had spent days there, in that beautiful landscape. The landscape was beautiful, day after day, his desires were becoming even more intense. After a serene number of days, in the distance, he saw a beautiful girl who was very attractive and she was smiling at him. She walked over to Lin Feng and smiled, slash. Lin Feng's sword streaked across the sky and cut through the celestial girl. His heart started beat faster again and he felt merciless. Life is short, how could I waste it on these futilities, thought Lin Feng. The celestial girl was still there though, she hadn't been hurt at all. Die. Lin Feng ran as fast as he could. You're so cruel. You said you wanted to kill a beautiful woman, said a voice at that moment. It was Yi Renlei and she was smiling in a resplendent way. It's just an illusion, of course I want to destroy it. We were only together in the illusion though, so it's almost real. If you willingly give me the tear stain, I can pay a high price for it. Nobody would know what happened in the illusion. I can even dress up as a maid if you want, she said this in a tempting and seducing way. Lin Feng felt like he was going to succumb to his desires. What happens in the illusion is real. Yi Renlei walked towards Lin Feng, making her clothes slowly fall off her shoulders. Lin Feng's heart started racing. He was now staring at the girl's breasts. He felt like he was going to explode. He couldn't control himself as her clothes kept sliding down. Chapter 1190, Aftermath. Lin Feng looked at her. Her eyes, her body. He couldn't resist. If you want me, you can have me, just be gentle, said Yi Renlei in a gentle voice, yet shyly. His face turned red. But then gradually, he tried to look normal again. You said there is only the two of us in the illusion and that nobody can see us? Then, we should enjoy life and carnal pleasures. Let me undress you, said Lin Feng smiling calmly. He stretched his hand and put it on her shoulders, like he wanted to help her undress. Finally, Lin Feng touched her soft skin, but he looked calm. However, at that moment, everything stopped. The illusion disappeared and Lin Feng saw Yi Renlei with her zither. She was smiling at him now. You're extraordinary. I shouldn't ask for the tear stain again, said Yi Renlei smiling in a resplendent way. She put her zither away as if nothing had happened. You can make men turn into demons with that song, said Lin Feng smiling wryly. But in the end you managed to break free. Lin Feng smiled and didn't say anything else. He had just realized how terrifying her attacks were. However, Lin Feng had found the trick. Even in the illusion, she wouldn't let him touch her, so that's why he had tried to. You give up that quickly. Since it's that way, we'll try to get the tear stain ourselves, said Zhong Renyu indifferently. Then, several silhouettes flickered. Lin Feng looked at them, smiled and walked towards the fortune shrine as if nobody would stop him. Even though you were lucky to go to the special areas, the tear stain is not yours, said someone blocking Lin Feng. Even though Yi Renlei is nice, you still can't keep it, said someone else disdainfully. Lin Feng had just broken through to the 6th Tian Qi layer, how could they let him keep the tear stain? Lin Feng glanced at them, turned around and looked at the crowd. The really strong cultivators weren't doing anything to him. Those people who were threatening him hadn't obtained anything of value, so they were jealous. Apart from the tear stain, he has many more incredibly powerful holy weapons, said someone coldly. Lin Feng recognized that person, it was someone from the celestial land of alchemists. Lin Feng suddenly started laughing. He looked at Yuan Fei, Jun Mo Shi, Meng Qing etc. and waved saying, there's no need to help me. Everybody obtained treasures in the special areas, but you don't want to attack the others, only me. No problem, said Lin Feng smiling in a cold way. His Tianji sword appeared in front of him and he said, since you despise me, die. Lin Feng's sword streaked across the sky, the sword qi contained wind and empty space energies, so it moved very quickly. Kaboom! Dazzling purple thunders appeared and fell down from the sky. Right in front of Lin Feng, someone exploded. The crowd was astonished. What an incredible sword! It looked like a sword controlled by a cultivator who understood abstruse energies. It had even swallowed abstruse energies. The cultivator that Lin Feng killed had already broken through to the 8th Tian Qi layer, but he still killed him instantly. Die, said Lin Feng again. Lin Feng attacked another person who had just spoken. His face drastically changed, but he wasn't fast enough to escape from the thunderous energies. He was immediately electrocuted and died. At the same time, Lin Feng walked towards the crowd and released more terrifying energies. Abstruse thunder energies surrounded his body, emitting blasting sounds. Lin Feng moved like the wind and landed in front of someone. He raised his hand and smashed that person's head into the ground. "You're so weak." As he talked, that person's head exploded. Slash, his Tianji sword came back to him like a boomerang, having just killed someone else. That person was quick, but not quicker than the Tianji sword. Everybody was astonished. A cultivator, a sword, two strong cultivators were killing enemies one after the other. The remaining people were shaking like leaves. Lin Feng was surrounded by terrifying purple lightning. He glanced at them and said, "Do you still want the tear stain? Come then." Some people were scared, even though he had only broken through to the 6th Tianqi layer. He knew so many different kinds of abstruse energies and he could kill them instantly. His sword was scary as well. It seemed alive and even contained its own abstruse energies. "Let's join hands." Even though he knows abstruse energies, he's not that strong. "We should be able to kill him if we work together," said someone. Lightning shot from Lin Feng's eyes and moved towards those people. His eyes didn't look like regular human eyes, they looked bestial. "Die!" The Tianji sword whistled as it streaked across the sky. "Stop!" shouted someone furiously. He took out a holy weapon, an ancient mirror which emanated golden lights. Slash, slash, the Tianji sword crashed onto the mirror, releasing empty space and thunderous energies. The golden lights disappeared and the mirror immediately exploded into 1,000 pieces. Then, the Tianji sword continued moving towards that person and slit his throat. He immediately died. His holy weapon was destroyed. The crowd was astonished. Did they want to kill Lin Feng or? Lin Feng's purple seed made him feel incredible. "So many people want to steal my treasures, you should all die." Lin Feng jumped forwards. His Tianji sword continued moving and nobody could stop it. His sword had 3 complete souls already, a thunder soul, an empty space soul, a wind soul, and soon it would have a fire soul as well. Lin Feng could release terrifying abstruse energies which could easily kill ordinary Zun cultivators. Tian-level cultivators who didn't understand abstruse energies stood no chance against him. They wanted to escape, but they were too slow, especially when facing that incredible sword. He understands 3 types of strength. Why does his sword also contain 3 types of abstruse energies? The crowd was staring at the sword. They didn't understand what was going on. It's not just 3 types of abstruse energies, he's been to the area with the source of life. Did he learn abstruse vitality energy too? Thought people who knew where Lin Feng had been. He also understands fire intent and wants to learn abstruse fire energy, said Fu He. Was it possible that Lin Feng understood 4 types of abstruse energies? Even if he understood 4 types of abstruse energies, how come his sword could release energies on its own without Lin Feng having to hold it in his hands? The crowd didn't understand that no matter they came at it. 2 people weren't surprised. Yi Renlei knew a person who had appeared 5,000 years ago that was similar to him. Was Lin Feng his descendant? The other one was Jian Wu Bei, he was studying Lin Feng. Lin Feng's sword technique was an ancient technique. Jiang thought it was impossible to learn that skill, a skill which enabled a cultivator to raise his sword using his soul. Jiang's people said it was too painful to learn and almost impossible, so they had given up on it. Very quickly, Lin Feng finished killing everyone who wanted to kill him. However, Lin Feng's face was still ice cold as he slowly walked towards some people. His Tianji sword was floating in front of him. He walked towards the young cultivators from the celestial land of alchemists. At first he had thought he'd need to curse them, but now it wasn't necessary anymore. "What are you doing?" asked the young men whose faces turned deathly pale. They quickly ran to hide behind Shui Baiyao. "You're asking me that now?" said Lin Feng, smiling in an ice-cold way. They had always wanted to kill him, and now they were asking him what he was planning. "Are you an enemy of the celestial land of alchemists?" shouted someone furiously, seemingly accusing Lin Feng. "Die!" Lin Feng's dazzling Tianji sword moved towards him. He wanted to escape, but it was too late. He was immediately pierced by the sword. "You are my enemy, not the celestial land of alchemists," exclaimed Lin Feng. "Bai Yao, sister," shouted the other one, terrified. He was now behind her, hiding. "Celestial girl, you are well aware that he's wanted to kill me," said Lin Feng. Shui Bai Yao took a deep breath and shook her head. "Fellow disciple, since you offended him, why are you hiding now? Can't you be a real man?" His face turned deathly pale. Then, Shui Bai Yao moved away and a dazzling sword pierced through his forehead. Chapter 1191, Fighting Against Zhong Renyu. Shui Bai Yao looked at her fellow disciples whom Lin Feng killed. She shivered, but quickly, she came back to her senses. Cultivators had to remain calm no matter what. There weren't any tensions between her and her fellow disciples, but cultivators were merciless against their enemies. Strength was everything in the world of cultivation. Her fellow disciples had tried to kill Lin Feng over and over again, and if they had been stronger than Lin Feng, they would have killed him. But in the end, Lin Feng was stronger and had killed them instead. Even she was unable to kill him now. "When I go back to the celestial land of alchemists, I will practice cultivation non-stop and work on improving my celestial body," thought Shui Bai Yao. This time, she had learned a lot in Fortune City, including, even though she had broken through to the 8th Tian Qi layer and had a celestial body, there was always someone stronger than her somewhere, especially in Fortune City where all the incredible geniuses gathered. She would never forget Lin Feng. Before going to Fortune City, she was able to oppress Lin Feng. They had fought, and even though she had been defeated, she could compete with Lin Feng because she had a higher cultivation level. Now, they were in Fortune City and only a few months had passed. Lin Feng's life had changed, so now she couldn't compete with Lin Feng anymore. Even if she used her full strength. Lin Feng had broken through to the 6th Tian Qi layer, but he already knew several different types of abstruse energies. Some of the 10 strongest geniuses felt dispirited. They weren't in the mood to watch Lin Feng. They were a bit surprised too. Of course, it was just temporary. Even if Lin Feng had only broken through to the 6th Tian Qi layer and already knew a few types of abstruse energies, so what? They also understood a few types of abstruse energies. Not only did they understand them, they could use them even better than Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't pose a threat to them. Therefore, they were just a bit surprised. Besides, they were not interested in fighting Lin Feng, they were just interested in the people who were at the same level as them. Someday, some of them would rise while others would fall, but now it wasn't the right time to think about that. They were in Fortune City and the event wasn't over yet. The 4 shrines were still there, lofty and majestic as always. Inside their third eye, they still had dazzling fate seeds that they still wanted to use. The diviner hadn't told his prophecies yet either. However, many people were interested in Lin Feng. For example, Yi Ren Lei from the celestial part of Ba Huang, the Buddhist monk Kong Ming from the celestial Thunder Temple, Wen Tiangu from the Wen clan in the central part of Ba Huang, Qi Tiansheng from the Qi clan from the eastern part of Ba Huang, and Fu He from the Fire Mountain in the southern part of Ba Huang. The Thunderbird and Long Ting followed the rock to the shrine. Even though they wanted to kill Lin Feng, they couldn't kill him anymore. They needed to become even stronger now. The Thunderbird was the descendant of an emperor, the Golden Thunderbird. He needed more time before he next saw Lin Feng. Long Teng was the same, he had a dragon body and was quite strong. For him, killing Lin Feng was only a matter of time. "Come out," said Lin Feng, turning around. He looked at Zhong Renyu and said, "Don't tell me you're still not ready to fight." Zhong Renyu's facial expression looked gloomy. He smiled evilly and said, "You surprised me, but if you think you'll be able to defeat me, you'll be sorely disappointed." Zhong Renyu then walked forwards. He didn't fear Lin Feng. Be careful, Zhong Renyu is from the Church of Desire and he's a real genius. He knows some really evil skills which can influence people. He understands abstruse wind energy and soul-crushing intent. Maybe now, he even understands abstruse soul-crushing energies, said Yuan Fei using telepathy. Zhong Renyu really was an evil cultivator. He kept using other people to attack his enemies. Now, he dared come out alone. He must be confident now. Die. Lin Feng didn't talk much. His Tianji sword moved forwards as thunderous energies rolled in waves and emitted blasting sounds. Whirlwind, shouted Zhong Renyu coldly. His wind abstruse energies turned into a whirlwind, capturing everything in its wake. The whirlwind and the thunders collided and then disappeared together, but the Tianji sword continued moving towards Zhong Renyu. However, Zhong Renyu moved like the wind and dodged the sword. He descended from the sky towards Lin Feng. He raised his hand which contained sharp blade-like wind energies. Abstruse wind energies didn't only allow a cultivator to be fast, it also allowed them to protect themselves and dodge attacks. Zhong Renyu controlled abstruse wind energies really well. Lacerate, said Lin Feng. His empty space energies cut open space and Zhong Renyu's wind blade, at the same time, lightning crashed down. Die. The whistling Tianji sword came back like usual. Human desires, shouted Zhong Renyu in a cold way. Lin Feng looked at his two evil eyes and shivered. A single glance at Zhong Renyu's eyes could make a cultivator's soul shake. Maras and heretics. Lin Feng released sun fire, burning away the evil energies. At the same time, his golden silhouette flickered. Lin Feng now looked like a Buddha as he made the strength of the Haruka flow throughout his body. In the past, the skills from the Three Lives Buddha demon were very useful to Lin Feng, but now the strength of the Haruka didn't satisfy Lin Feng's needs anymore because he had become too strong. He needed to spend some time leveling up his strength of the Haruka later. But as before, the strength of the Buddha was useful when it came to destroying evil energies. Soul-stirring, shouted Zhong Renyu furiously. Oh no! Yuan Fei and the others saw that Zhong Renyu was oppressing Lin Feng. Yuan Fei's voice was extremely loud. Because Lin Feng's cultivation level was low, Yuan Fei's voice had reached him. It was enough for Lin Feng to come back to his senses. He shouted furiously, raised his fist and condensed thunderous energies. Then, he threw himself at Zhong Renyu. The space was now filled with thunderfire. Slash, slash. Boom, a loud collision sounded and shook the space around them. Zhong Renyu quickly retreated, but he couldn't give Lin Feng any opportunities. His fist felt extremely sore. Luckily, his cultivation level was higher than Lin Feng's, otherwise, he would have lost his hand in that exchange. The fact that you understand more abstruse energies than other people doesn't make you stronger. If you can't use them properly, what's the point, said Zhong Renyu. On the inside, he was surprised by Lin Feng's strength, but by talking in a proud way like that, he was trying to influence Lin Feng's determination. Humph, Zhong Renyu, you're shameless. If Lin Feng had your cultivation level, he would understand abstruse energies even better than you and would kill you in the blink of an eye, said Yuan Fei in a cold way. Is that so? I hadn't used my full strength when I casted the human desires spell before, said Zhong Renyu. No need to find excuses, everybody knows what kind of person you are. If you were able to, you'd already have killed Lin Feng. The fact that you can't is making you upset now, said Yuan Fei smiling mockingly. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. He didn't mind fighting, it made him grow and become more mature. It was a part of the path of cultivation. Of course, Lin Feng didn't think that he was strong because he knew several types of abstruse energies. If his intent wasn't solid, he wouldn't be able to do much with it. Understanding several abstruse energies was only the first step. He needed time to understand abstruse energies properly and to carry out explosive attacks. Nobody won that fight. It was a little difficult for me. If my soul hadn't been so strong and if I hadn't had my Tianji sword, I would have lost to him. However, it doesn't mean anything to me. My cultivation level is just too low. Besides, I just started studying abstruse energies, so I'm not familiar with them. It's not surprising that my attacks aren't as powerful as his, thought Lin Feng. That battle had taught him a lot. Next time, he would be even stronger. He needed to compare himself with others like this to understand where he needed to improve. Now, I certainly can't kill you, but I would like to thank you for the experience. Next time, I will take advantage of the advice you gave me to kill you, said Lin Feng to Zhong Renyu indifferently. Zhong Renyu frowned, used the advice he had given him. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.